What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade During the Midday. That is your boy Joey Options, and there goes Adara from the side. And we're gonna wait for everyone to come on in from the other stream. Shout out to Raheem Alwani. Thank you very much for joining us today, Raheem. His name is still on the bottom there, telling us exactly what to expect with these tariffs and the like. So very happy to have him around on a day like this. Here we go. We got Racer X9, Mr. Thumbs Up. Shout out to Pitchbull and Monty G, Darwin, 2 pumps. Let's go Celery 2. What's going on with you? We got Juan Padilla, Dinkelberg. Let's wait for, I know, right? I like that one too, Fabian. We got Frosty. We got my main man, Adam Dang Deluce. We got Zahir, Il Sadiq. I like that. Cesar Sanval. Shout out to Team Money. See some Hebrew characters there. What's going on, my man? We got Scott J. We got Vahap K, as well as Vittleback. We got Sam L. We got Scott J. Kobe the Kid. I've seen that picture before. You changed your name, didn't you? Paul Goodson, Omega Zero. Get it, Sharif. Yes, Omega. He knows what's good. He's a viewer of the show. He knows how I talk. We got Corey Pratt. We got Bill Pruitt. We got Ari Rosen. We got Isam Yassin. Isam Yassin. Sorry, I butchered that. I should know how to pronounce that better. We got Celine Journey. We got Damo. 69 Judge Shaq. Good morning to you. We got Ozan. You say China. Get it, Ozan. We got YG13, Brandon Townsend, my man. Excuse me. We got Gianni. Who else we got? We got Officially. You know exactly which Officially I'm talking about there. GM Lord Robin W. Eco Steven. We got Chemical City Kid, John Womack, Andrew, Jose, one more Joseph, Alma. I'm not even going to bother try to say your last name. I'm going to butcher way too much, probably do you disrespect there. Shout out to Alma. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, my friend. How was the weekend? Good?
It was not bad, man. Not bad at all.
Talking about the sessions, the guy putting in 2-a-days all weekend and then going to hit it again today. So monstrous stuff there by Sharif. I only went once every day, played hockey Friday night, gym Saturday morning, gym Sunday morning as well too. So not as many sessions put in, but we get in there and we put in that work, and that's all that matters, guys. Especially when you really don't want to do it, that's when you do it the most, all right? So we know we got a banger of a lesson today from Sharif, but there's a couple things that I want to go over before we send it back to him, and that's just kind of the breadth within the market here, guys. So as you can tell, we gapped down here before the opens on the news of the tariffs, but there is a couple really strong sectors, and I was curious as to why the SPY was moving significantly stronger than the tech-heavy NASDAQ. So what do? I pull up the top-performing sectors, as we usually tend to do here. And at the top of its class, guys, in first place, the top-performing sector is healthcare, all right? So I pull up XLV, I take a look at XLV, see what's going on there, and that trend is really, really strong. So positive on the session is XLV. But then I also wanted to take a look at XLF, one of my favorite. I know Sharif's got this as well too. Even though it is still red, that trend was really strong. So recovering a lot of that gap down, filling that gap to the top side now is XLF, even though it is still negative on the session. So first place, we have healthcare, all right? Up about 0.5% there, 0.4 to be exact. And then second place, we have energy, up about 0.3 as well. And then we have consumer staples, up about 0.5% is the consumer staples. So with the likes of Walmart trading stronger and higher, and Costco as well too, guys. But in communication services is in fourth, tied with consumer staples. And sure enough, I heard Katina Man say, man, Meta's up like $20 or something along those lines. So that's insane. Google relatively strong as well too, guys. But the bottom of its class today, Sharif, down 1.4% is the tech sector, all right? So tech heavy, red on the session, down 1.4%. Then consumer discretionary being led by Tesla and company, down about 1.3%. And then financials in third last there, guys.
Before we continue, Joseph, and get to the futures trading lesson of the day, I'm just going to say one quick thing. Where are my Man City fans out there? Where are you guys? I want an accounting of all the Man City fans in the chat so I can troll you guys individually. You guys got your ass whooped on the weekend. 5-1. Stay humble, eh? Stay humble. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about there. Shout out to all my Manchester. I want blood right from the beginning of the show, Joseph.
All right, man. You chose violence today.
All right, let's get to this. Let's get to this lesson du jour. We're talking about futures trading, baby. Many different contracts. We're going to become very, very general with the lesson today, and then we're going to get more nuanced as the week goes on. We'll start talking about the different instruments you can trade futures with, the different methodologies, and stuff like that. But before we start the lesson, Adara has news at the big desk.
Yeah, more tariff news. Again, words that we'll probably be saying quite a lot today and going forward. First, we have the New York Times reporting here that apparently a senior Canadian government official told them that Ottawa is not super optimistic about finding an off-ramp from tariffs the way that Mexico did. So basically, I have the CAD-USD relationship up here. Basically, what that means is Canada is not really seeing the possibility to kind of talk down or have a delay in these tariffs the way that Claudia Sheinbaum, president of Mexico, was able to negotiate there with Donald Trump. So that could be a concern here. Canadian tariffs could still be on watch, as we see here the CAD-USD taking a little bit of a tumble. We also have comments from Fed's Collins on watch here on CNBC saying that the U.S. actually has very limited experience with large-scale tariffs in this way, and saying that the broad-based tariffs are likely to impact prices. So just be aware here. Comments from Fed's Collins, who's actually not on the schedule, though Fed's Bostic is scheduled to speak at 12:30. Then we'll actually apparently get Trump speaking with Trudeau at 3 p.m., and followed by comments from Fed's Muslim and Jefferson earlier or later today, guys. Back to you.
All right. We're just getting started over here. I'm getting a message from who? Oh, Midday Madness. That's all right. Okay, guys, let's do it. Futures trading. This lesson dives into using support and resistance. We're going to talk about futures basically from a very, very high level. And high level doesn't mean advanced. It means very basic. Through the lens of support and resistance for intraday futures trading. We'll identify key factors to assess your potential breakouts or reversals at the level. So let's get right to it. So just so we kind of explain everything and everybody can follow along, what are support and resistance zones especially? So imagine a tug of war between buyers, which is the demand, and then sellers, which are the supply side of the equation. Support is a price area where buyers tend to step in, meaning that they buy at those areas, tend to step in, pushing the price back up. Conversely, resistance is where sellers become active, halting the price increase and potentially reversing the trend. So you can visualize these kind of on the chart. Think of it on the chart there. So this is, we're moving along our merry way. We seem to always find resistance at this area means sellers are selling or buyers are taking profits. Likewise over here with this black line where buyers seem to be buying in and around this area, okay? So how do you identify these areas of support and resistance? There's many different methods, but we're going to talk about a few of them today. There are various methods to identify support and resistance zones. One, you can look for prior day highs and lows. So when I open up my chart in the morning and I'm looking at the futures, I'm looking right away at 3 different levels. One, the closing print from the day before. When I do my review in the morning about the ES, what's the first thing that I literally say? We closed out at, and I give you the closing print from yesterday. That's the committed money. That's the money that's staying in the market. And that's the money that I want to have advance notice of. So the closing print first and foremost. Then you have to look at the overnight high and the pre-market low. Why? Well, there's a reason maybe we sold off at that level at the overnight high. And there's a reason maybe we bounced off that pre-market low. So you need to apprise yourself of the closing print, the highs, and the lows, okay? And then you also got to mark off these horizontal lines, so to speak. You want to mark off areas where the price has bounced off repeatedly, indicating a potential support and resistance zones. Now, the reason I kind of gave this one its own bullet is because it may have nothing to do with the overnight high, the pre-market low, or the closing print. It may be a more established level from previous days previous days, or it could be that 100-point level. Oftentimes you hear me say, oh, look, we're getting into 21,000 on the NQ. Well, what the hell does that matter? Because these 100-point levels on the futures, whether the NQ or the ES, often act as psychological support and resistance. So it's really important to mark off those areas. So these horizontal lines could be the 100-point area, or they may have nothing to do with them. Look at a wider time frame to gauge where you might have a recurring level of support or resistance, okay? And then the trend lines, right? So these are the horizontal price areas. But trend lines also feature big here. So you want to connect swing highs and swing lows to create a trend line. Prices, often test these lines before breaking or continuing on to the trend. So here we have examples of basically horizontal trend lines where we have found support in the past and where we may encounter support in the future. Again, nothing hard and fast here. It's just we're trying to put the odds in our favor. So let's talk a little bit about support in general. So price tests. So you're looking for the price approaching the support zone. So if it bounces with strong buying volume, so more bars on the buy side, a reversal is likely. Okay, so you're always looking to see whether price action and volume are jiving. Are you getting increased volume on the way up, or is it a dead cat bounce, so to speak, where you're getting higher highs but with decreasing volume? That's a bit of a tougher thing. What's going on with the group chat today? I'm gonna have to mute this, mother. All right, we're gonna have to mute that soon over here because it's beeping in my ear way too much. All right, so false breaks as well, super important. Price dips slightly below support, then they quickly recover, right? This is indicating buying and selling pressure potentially to the upside. But there's also the candlestick patterns and chart patterns as well that you should be looking at. I don't use those too much for the futures, but they are absolutely valid. So you're looking for bullish reversal candlestick patterns like a hammer, a bullish engulfing, and you're looking for them specifically to form at key areas of support and resistance. They don't have to by definition, but when you get these reversal patterns or these continuation patterns that appear at key areas, whether the 100-point level, at a trend line, at a horizontal support line, at a 100-point area, they tend to have a bit more credence, and so you can rely on them a little bit more, okay? So keep that in mind. Let's talk a little bit about resistance, though. So this is where the price tests, right? So similar to support, you're observing price action at resistance. If it gets rejected with strong selling volume, so more bars to the sell side, a reversal to the downside may be likely. And the failed breakouts are important as well. So this is where price pushes slightly above resistance, but falls down quickly. We sometimes call these specialist breakouts or specialist breakdowns where, people know that you're looking at that particular area and big money will push it above that area to get retail or other investors or traders in and then have the price move back right down on its merry way and then everybody's caught holding the bag, so to speak. So failed breakouts or breakdowns are an ever-present danger. But we're also looking for these confirmation candlesticks. What do I mean by that? You're looking for like a bearish reversal candle, kind of like we were talking about there with confirmation candlesticks earlier with support. You're looking for like a hanging man candlestick pattern, a shooting star. And again, you're looking for them to form at key areas of support and resistance, whatever those happen to be, okay? Whether they're prolonged areas of support on the daily, or they're at the 100-point level, or they're holding up at a trend line, or the overnight low, the overnight high, the closing print, so many different areas you need to be on alert for, okay? Some additional considerations to keep in mind when trading futures, and by no means is this an exhaustive lesson. We're gonna have a multi-part to this whole thing in the week. Market context, right? Consider the overall market trend. Is it bullish? Is it bearish, or are we in a consolidation range? It really behooves you to know what the trend is before getting into a futures trade. This can influence the validity of support and resistance zones, right? Indicators as well. You should be combining support and resistance, which is the focal point of this lesson, with technical indicators. You should be trying at least to employ the RSI and the MACD, the moving averages, as well as volume weighted average price for additional confirmation of breakouts or reversals. However, indicators should complement, not replace the price action analysis. And your risk management, equally as important in every context. Always have a stop loss order in place to limit your potential losses, especially if you're a newer trader, and especially if you have a history of not, adhering to your mental stops. Throw in a hard stop so that it takes the decision-making out of the equation. So you always want to make sure you are doing that. And remember, guys, just to finish off here with some general food for thought, support and resistance zones are areas. They are not exact prices. So when I say, 21,000 on the NQ, I'm talking about, generally that 21,000. That could mean 20,990-ish. It could mean 21,000, 10-ish. All right, so they're areas, not exact zones. Prices can fluctuate within these zones before breaking or reversing. And false breakouts and failed retests are an ever-present danger in trading. You need to be on the lookout for them. Don't chase every price touch at the zones, so keep that in mind. And backtest your strategy on historical data to understand its effectiveness before risking real capital. Sorry, Andre, I missed that part. Like and subscribe, just like this animation tells you to do right there. Smash that like, smash the subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the show. And if you want to engage with us in the chat, it's a subscribers only chat. So you got to hit that sub button. And then we would be enormously in your debt, Joseph, if they were able to share the stream as well. Because, you never really know who's going to be interested in making money.
Yeah, well, I hope a lot of people are interested in making money there. So yeah, guys, do us a big favor, like and subscribe. A lot of you guys watching today and this morning, so that's fantastic. One thing I want to touch on before we talk a little bit about trading is how Sharif was mentioning hard and mental stops. I think if you're kind of in the beginning stages of your journey, whether it be year 1 or year 2, I think hard stops are the way to go until you get a full grasp of the fact that, like, hey, you need to adhere to these, you need to abide by these rules, and then you can transition into mental stops because you know to get out, and you've been through that pain where it's like, okay, I don't follow my stops when the hard stop isn't there, and I'm taking outsized losses. But then when you have those mental stops, but when you have those hard stops in place, then it'll just exit you. Don't cancel the order or anything. And then when you get comfortable and you understand that you need to follow those rules, then you can start to eliminate them. So hopefully you won't get any liquidity grabs or anything along those lines. But yeah, here we go, guys. A lot of people in the chat are talking about XRP right now, Sharif. And it's trading significantly higher. So recovering all of that gap that it put in not too long ago there, guys. So really good look here on XRP. I don't own any of this stuff, and I'm not too familiar with it. But I mean, that breakout from November is absolutely phenomenal. That's what you want to see. Volume starting to kick in here as well too. So nice. That pullback is fairly shallow, but here we go. Creates a new high, and then now pulling back with a massive gap down, even though I guess in crypto there is no real gap downs. But I mean, sell off heavy to about that $1.70, 75 area there, and then now trading back up about $1 here around 261. So really good look there on XRP. I know the chat was calling that one out, so thought I'd mention that for everybody. And yeah, whatever you guys are looking at in the chat, please let me know. Yes, I am the Hawk. Got to be mindful of the levels, avoid liquidity grabs. Exactly. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So here we go. We'll use this as an example on NVDA, and you got to be mindful of the levels is right, because you don't want to put your stop mid-range, right? If you put your stop mid-range, chances are it's going to come and get grabbed. So what you want to do is you want to start by putting it below certain key levels, and not like right at that level. You want to put it slightly below. Give yourself some room, the stock to breathe, etc., and then eventually you'll be able to eliminate that stop and then just continue with your merry way and just have those mental stops out. You're like, oh, okay, I know that it's coming to the downside. I got to get out of this here. So mental stop is not even good in the Trump market. You can literally get it.
I saw that.
But yeah, that's a valid point. I mean, not every day this guy's going to influence the market. I mean, he's been in office for like about a week now, and he's definitely played his part, his fair share. There's no questioning that. But I mean, not every day this guy's going to be tweeting or putting out truths or retruths or slapping tariffs on some other country. But I see your point. But not every day Donald Trump is going to be getting involved in that. But as of right now, guys, sitting on my hands. No positions really. I'm going to wait for this pullback. Let's see if NVDA can come back, pull into about that 116 area and hold some of those pre-market support levels and resistance levels. And then maybe we'll look for a bounce and a continuation of the trend there. But guys, yeah, we got our first picks up there. I kind of switched it up this morning. We got IBIT, NVDA, XLE, and Walmart up there because Staples is strong and energy as well too, somewhat flat. So think the energy game, we were talking about Enbridge not too long ago, Sharif, so that's why I figured I'd put it up there. But as of right now, let's see what these tech stocks are up to and see if they can drag the market somewhat higher.
And I see A.O. Lewis calling out HIMS, H-I-M-S. Good call out, man. It's trading really well. It's above Friday's high. You got a couple of bull flags here. You got the initial bull flag off the jump at 9:30. Let me throw in that ticker so everybody can follow along. This has earned its way onto the side chart because it's a great looking pattern on the 5, despite the fact it's not up that much. I mean, we're only talking about 5.5. Going on to 5 2/3. We just did get into that high a day, but look at this ugly candle over here. This is what we call a specialist breakdown, guys. We've been awfully respectful of the 10 exponential, hugging it to a dang T. Then lo and behold, you get this sick spike that takes it down about 75 cents quick as you like, only to recover and close higher than the open there. So actually closes green. Specialist breakdowns, specialist breakouts, they're a part of life with these monsters, and you've got to get used to it. Otherwise, don't trade, okay? So here we go. We're doing real well right now on SGLY. Multiple outs through the top break. We just took out the high of the day. This thing's up 90%. It had an ugly, ugly mother of all topping tail candles, but as I've mentioned many times before, the topping tail candles are not decisive like they are with large caps and like some other, you know, like the Meg. There we go. Here we go into 38s. Bang. We're taking out, now we're going to take out more here at 40s. We've got some size on this, you know what. So we're taking out some over here. Let's take out some more. All right, Dees. Now we're going to let this one cook. So we're long $1.20, $1.40 in play right now. Multiple outs on this monster. Let's layer the outs because we hang out in areas for a short while, not a long while. So if that's going to be the case, I'm old and my hands are slow. So I need these resting orders to make up for my advancing age, Joseph, which is going in one direction, one way only, sadly. So that's the look right there.
Unless you're Brian Johnson.
Oh, look at this guy. Okay, okay.
Brian Johnson.
Who's that guy again?
The guy who the de-aging, the anti-aging guy.
Is that the guy that
does like with like his son and stuff like that?
Hold on, am I thinking about the right guy?
I think so.
Is he got like super pale skin?
Yes.
Yes, I know exactly.
He was part of. I forget what fintech company he had, but he sold it for like hundreds of millions of dollars. So
what
that's
a good guy.
Yeah.
A good guy.
There you go.
All right, guys. Some multiple scalps here. We're just scalping on this one. I'm looking for that high day break, 145, then 150, and then we're gonna let this one cook if it continues to go. So 144 HOD on SGLY, and it just occurred to me that I've given you no information on this company, and I do apologize. Singularity Future Technology, global logistics integrated solution provider. What do they do? Freight logistics services. Great. That's all I care about. What's the market cap? Light, 5.6 million. Shares, heavy. 2 1/3 million shares traded on the day with a float of 3.5 million. And let's find out what the short float is vis-a-vis trade ideas. What do we got? 1%. Okay, that ain't nothing right about there. So not too much in terms of a short float, but we do have a smaller float. So just by virtue of the smaller float, we can get a bit parabolic on this one. Shout out to Rohit. Any small cap gappers you were looking at, I missed it. My man, it says it right on the position board. Rohit, come on now. Come on, Rohit. Daniel T. What's up with Fubo? They're probably charging people too much money. That's what they're doing, punks. Let's have a look at FUBO. It's a good look, man. 1.87. This thing's over a billion market cap now. We're inching in on $1.5 billion ever since they struck that deal with Disney. So good look for Fubo. This might earn its way onto the side chart. It's not parabolic by any nature. I'm talking about FUBO if you want to follow along. But yeah, definitely one that we can predictably weasel into, so to speak. So FUBO on watch, no doubt about it. What else are you guys looking at? Vivid distortions. Can you hear yourself in your earpiece? I cannot. No, I can only hear the production team. Why? Am I that bad? Is my voice that annoying to you? I'm sorry. You can hit the mute button if you'd like. Victor Liu, Apple dropping like a rock. Don't I know it, baby? Yeah, we're down another 5 figures today. That's just kind of the way that is, and you have to deal with it. Otherwise, don't invest in the market. Darth Buddha, Fubo, not on screen. No, it's not, because I'm not trading it, my man. Here it is, though. I'll throw it up there for you right now. FUBO, very directional, very respectful of the 10 exponential moving average. We're not quite at Friday's highs. So for whatever reason, we spiked there in the implied balance open right at the beginning at 4.25. We're still below that 415, but we are doing a nice little move. I don't have anything on Fubo for a news headline or anything like that, so not really sure what the headline is for this. Not sure whether it's catching some sort of tailwind with what's going on. So we'll keep tabs on that. So the one that I'm involved in, SGLY, right now, we took multiple L's to the high side, but let me tell you, anything below that $1.15, I'm taking it out. It's going to have to hold that $1.15 area. And let me explain why. Where is my trade idea? Not trade ideas, but e-signal. We're going to take off. Who are we going to take off here? We're going to take off. We got UNG twice. That's probably why. SGLY. So there is a nice area of price action support that I see. This is the breakout area here on SGLY. So we have to hold that area. If we don't hold that area, then I'm not going to be in the trade much longer. In addition to this being the price breakout area on SGLY, that $1.15, $1.20 area, the volume weighted average price is $1.17. So if it breaks down below VWAP, you guys know that I don't hold these small cap gappers out the VWAP. So I've already moved it up. Bhavin Patel. Let me just look over here. Bhavin, HCWB. How can you please take a look? It's up over 100%. Let's have a look. HCWB, excuse me, HCWB. Here it is. The thing about this one, Bhavin, you're absolutely right. It's up 110 and change. Number one, it's south of that dollar, okay? Number two, it's south of the pre-market high, okay? And number three, it's south of the volume weighted average price. So this one, not tradable under my system. It has to be above the pre-market high. The pre-market high, I see it to be that $6, $5, so it's got to get above there. In addition to that, it's got to be above the volume weighted average price. If it's not, I'm not trading it. It just breaches my rules. But here's what I do. Because it's a triple digit winner, I'm going to throw an alert. And I'll throw the alert out at $1, so that I could have advanced notice of it trying to take out that pre-market high at $1.06. So shout out to you. Thank you for pointing that out. Great look on the surface of things, but it breaches my rules for these small cap gappers, Joseph.
Hey,
so that's a look.
Hey, good look there, guys. For some Tesla here, position board, we're working on that here as well too, but some data missing, but that's okay. As I was looking at the chart over here, let me pull it up for you guys. It looked like we were slowly starting to curl over. Primary trend still to the downside, intact here, constructing that lower high. Might possibly break through the volume weighted average price, but you can see that these price action candles aren't overly orderly. So that's something to keep in mind. And that was like, okay, maybe this is just a pullback, running into some key resistance levels as well too, guys. And then sure enough, slowly just turn around. Now testing the volume weighted average price, as I just mentioned, but you get that turtle shell type price action, something that I definitely like to look out for when things are starting to turn around, and you get those indecision candles above the volume weighted average price, and you get that elastic effect that I often talk about. And sure enough, here we go. We are bouncing off it right now, but I do think that there's going to be somewhat more downside if we decide to break 381. This thing's weak. We all know that the earnings report wasn't stellar, and I think the market kind of just got a little antsy about what Elon said is to come and not what is actually going on right now. So maybe some pricing, we're pricing that out here. So I don't know if that stuff's baked in already or not, but I think there might be some more downside to Tesla. Again, we got to wait out for this. We got to wait for this robo fleet to come out, and I think that will actually really start to turn things around, and those deliveries start to pick up, especially with that Model 2 that we always talk about as well, Sharif.
Well said, Joseph.
People looking forward to that, especially me, because I don't know, man. Maybe my next car is a RoboCab.
I never get to ask you about like what you would buy.
A RoboCab, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just have that. You know what, working for you all day.
Well, I wouldn't even run it at night because, like, at the end of the day, like, I don't want people like all
They're gonna
like down, like, yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I don't want this thing working like on King Street. Like, I don't want my RoboCab on King.
That's the clubbing area.
Yeah, it's like the party district in Toronto. I don't want those type of people in my RoboCab, man. So, you know.
baby is. Like, imagine buying that bad boy day one and it's like dripping in.
Like people doing nonsense. Dude, I remember, so when I had my old 3 Series, my 320i BMW, I had it for about a month. And then we were coming from a party and I was DD that night and this girl threw up all in the back of my brand new Beamer. Cost me like $600 to get it like disinfected and
She pay back the money?
No, I didn't even.
Because you're a gentleman.
It was a friend of a friend.
Because you're a gentleman.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't have asked any, nor did I want to talk to him again because I was.
You're a gentleman, but like you're still human.
Yeah, still human. So that was that.
Well
see you later, and that's the case. But as of right now, Sharif, market really starting to recover here. Uber trading really high, still around those highs of days. I bid as well too. My guy asked me, do we think we're going to see 100K on it? I said no. We rejected 99.5s right now. So if it decides to take a second leg up, we might get that 100K on.
Yeah, you were quite confident about that. And let me tell you, when you said it, I thought like, okay, she's right. You know, whatever. Anyway, all right, guys, we got to fill at 145. Now I'm waiting in front of 150 on SGLY. I'm looking to front run what I perceive to be psychological resistance at the $1.50. Sometimes that is the case with these small cap gappers, whole dollar, half dollar, sometimes even the quarter and the $0.75 of a dollar act as support and resistance. We'll see. I've got a couple of outs left. If I get the fill at the half dollar, I'm going to hold a piece for the dream. Otherwise, I'll give it literally like probably 5 or 6 pennies south of my entry just to give it room to kind of work. Now, it's got an ugly candle formation on the 5. I'm talking about SGLY. It's higher highs and higher lows, though. So that's what's keeping me interested in the trade. Let's bring it in. Let's look at it. So this is not a glowing endorsement of, breakouts here because it keeps wicking in and then selling back off. So that's the bad side of things. The good side of things is that every successive low is a bit higher than the previous low, higher than its predecessor low. So what does that mean? That means you've got a trend with higher highs and higher lows. I'm talking about SGLY. This is the 5-minute look on it. We'll see if it wants to continue holding up right now. Got the print at 145, but that's as good as it could do. I've got the high of the day right now, which is that $1.45. The only reason I had that $1.45 is because I had a resting order there. It's coming down aggressively now, trying to sell off a little bit. I'd like to see this thing hold above that $1.25. That $1.25, that'll keep the higher high, higher low situation going on. All right. So that's not the only small cap gapper I'm looking at. Obviously, I've got others. Here are the others I'm looking at. ZBAI. It's breaking down below VWAP right now, so not tradable under my system. It's going to have to get above that 207, 210 area. But OKLO, OKLO. Let me tell you, Danny Ives, very bullish about OKLO. We already know your boy Altman involved in OKLO. Now, Danny Ives was one of the pods that I listened to. I always want I want to have like a bit of an in New York and like how the New York people are thinking. And so I listen to the Compound. It's very New York. If you're from New York, you kind of don't feel like you're listening to an outside podcast, but they had Danny Ives on the Compound this week. And he was awful bullish about OKLO. He doesn't think that the energy trade for AI is dead. He feels, there's still merit there. So OKLO catching a nice bounce again today. Where is it up today? It's up 6 1/3, 6 1/4. It looks awfully bull flag-ish. It's the second continuation bull flag. That's the breakout bull flag right now. That's from the jump. That's the opening print. And then we get a subsequent bull flag off the $40 test. And now we're hanging out just around this area over here. Is this going to halt? Yeah. So I got caught in a down halt over here on SGLY. It's still above the volume weighted average price. It's still above my entry anyway. So, and I've only got 1 out left. No, I've got 2 outs left on this bad boy. So we'll wait and see what the situation is here with SGLY. Down halt right now. At $1.22, still above the 10 exponential, still above VWAP. Let's see how this bad boy opens. But OKLO, I could be definitely interested in taking this bad boy long. My only concern about taking OKLO long here for a third bull flag is I don't feel the market's really primed for a third bull flag on a name like this today. I mean, we have all 4 major averages red with Donald Trump sinking these markets with these tariffs, yada, yada. You guys get it. So I don't know if I feel like there's going to be that kind of strength and continuity for the long trade today. I could be wrong. It's bull flagging right now. The range right now on OKLO is quite established, 43.5 as support, about 44.5, give or take, to the high side. You do have wicks that breach that 44.5 on OKLO, like the high of the day is 44.87. Shout out to Pretty Panda, REBN. You already know, Pretty, that I got that bad boy up there. It's on this chart over here, but because we have 8 on these bad boys, we only have 6 on this one. Oh, we do. We have it right here. My bad.
Maybe.
Yeah. REBN, I'm looking at it. Now, the reason I didn't mention this one from the jump, Pretty, is because it was below the volume weighted average price. VWAP's at around 581. We're weaseling up on now to 6 1/5, looking out to 6 1/4. But this one breaches my rules if I was to get in here, Pretty. And the reason is because we have a high at 7 a.m. at 825. So if I get in long here, I'm technically breaching my rules. It has to be above the pre-market high if there's a definable one, which in this case there absolutely is. And it has to be, above VWAP. Only one of the 2 preconditions right now are met. It's above VWAP, you're absolutely right, but it's got to weasel its way above that pre-market high. I'll absolutely be interested. Here's the deal. Just like with the other one, I'm going to throw an alert at around 777s, Joseph. We're going to throw that out there for good luck.
Whoa,
hey. Just to front run that $8 area, even though it's about 8 1/4. That's the high of the day. I'm absolutely interested in this one. Let's see what else people are talking about. Zai Ing. Can you take a look at Baba? Absolutely, sir. What a polite way to ask. We will look at Baba for you quick as you like. Which one are we going to look at over here? So Baba, obviously, look, owns AliExpress. And we know that AliExpress takes advantage of the de minimis rule for imports. And if you're not familiar with the de minimis rule, it is basically anything under $800 skirts tariffs. And so that's how Temu, Shein, AliExpress, and similar companies, I think even Amazon has one now, I forget the name of it. That's how they skirt tariffs there. And so this one was likely to get hit a bit. It did, it gapped down, but it's recovering now because Donald Trump is canceling the de minimis provision from tariffs. So in addition to slapping China with 10% more on top of the 25 that already existed, he is removing the de minimis principle. We saw like the likes of PDD, Pinduoduo, or are they even called Pinduoduo anymore? I know they changed their name to PDD. In any event, they were down aggressively in the morning. They're down still 4 3/4 right now. Baba, though, recovering much better. So it looks, the story here could just be beyond AliExpress, and maybe we're factoring in Quen, because Quen apparently is their new language model. It's really good. Outperforming some North American models as well as DeepSeek, depending on who you listen to. So this looks like a bull flag continuation on Baba. I'd personally like to see what it does at $100. $100, if we bounce off that 100, that's awfully bullish. If 100 doesn't hold, then we breach the top end of the bull flag over here. Then I'm looking at 99 1/3 to 99 1/2 because that's where VWAP is. That's the volume weighted average price on Baba, but it's a good look for Baba, man. It's up 1.5%. And just to give you guys some comparisons here, Baba up 1.5. Well, how's KWeb doing? Let me have a look. KWeb down 1/3. How about FXI? FXI is up 1/5. So it doesn't matter how you cut this pie. Baba outperforming most of these Chinese ADRs. But the best performing ADR as I see it is XPeng. Neil, look at this chart, bro. What the hell is going on with XPeng over here? 6%. We're taking out $16, 16 1/4 right now on XPeng. Fantastic look right now on XPEV. We'll keep tabs on this one. Okay, so when SGLY opened, sadly, it stopped me out for a 2-penny loser on the remaining couple of shares there. It's below VWAP, so I'm okay with this. If it reclaims VWAP and then uses VWAP as support, I'm all ears. I'll get back into this monster. We're keeping an eye on these small cap gappers, Joseph.
Hey, good luck there. Charlie Taff and I are talking some options in the chat.
Hey.
And he says, hey, Joe, I'm thinking about the 360 put on Tesla that expires either next week or this week. And you know what? I'm gonna be frank. The thing is, that's really tough luck, right? So we're trading around 382. We know the average true range on this thing has picked up. So you can get that 360 price target, but you got to take into consideration how we're bouncing off some key support levels. But when you buy that far out of the money, you want kind of like a big, not a black swan event, but you want an event where momentum is going to step in, and then you can get the fluctuation of those contracts to be slightly more vast, and the IV is starting to pick up on those as well too. So the real issue is, once again, and I emphasize it all the time, is the time that you're giving yourself. So yeah, you can collect a little extrinsic value on these contracts, even if it does kind of the stock price does depreciate. But in order for you to become really profitable within that week and a half or 2 weeks that you're giving yourself, you're going to have to go south of 360 at some point. Because as you get closer to at the money or whatever, or sorry, expiration, the value of theta is going to really start to pick up. And if you haven't really started to depreciate in price, then that value of the contract is going to diminish quicker and quicker day by day. So I'm not against the out the monies, but you kind of want to time an out the money options trade, in my opinion, and how I would, with something where the volatility is really going to step in, increasing that chance that you're going to surpass your strike price, your long strike price, sorry, and then even more some. But again, if it were to happen quick, so say within the week Tesla were to go to 365, by like Wednesday, then yeah, you can still collect some extrinsic value on that contract. But if it takes any longer than that, you're probably going to be in somewhat of trouble, because the price depreciation isn't going to be fast enough, and that theta and time value, time decay is going to really start to kick in on those contracts, and then you're just going to be like, oh, well, okay, why am I losing when we're closer to 360? But it's like you only got a couple days left to go south of 60 now, and day by day, that extrinsic value is just getting chewed up. But guys, we're going to send it off to Adara.
Earnings. We don't have earnings to go over right now from last night because, we always usually do our earnings segment around now, but I want to prepare you guys for this week ahead. This is our brand new Trader TV Research earnings calendar. Only the second week we've done it, and you can check this out here on X at TTV Research. We also have a lot of fun earnings graphics. Currently working on a little something for Palantir that'll likely debut later in the show, so check that out. We have Palantir, Clorox, and NXP reporting tonight. Then tomorrow morning, we actually have a slew of pre-market names that are going to be of note, including Estee Lauder, Pfizer, Ferrari, Spotify, PayPal, Archer Daniels Midland, and Merck. So lots to watch out for there. After the bell on Tuesday, it's going to be Murderers Row. We have Snapchat, we have AMD, we have Alphabet, we have Chipotle, and we have Electronic Arts. Wednesday morning, pretty exciting too here. We've got Toyota, we have Uber, we have Disney, and then after the bell on Wednesday, we've got ARM, Qualcomm, Ford. Thursday morning, a little bit exciting here as well. We've got Peloton and Eli Lilly, but after the bell on Thursday is when we get Amazon. So lots to watch out for this week for earnings. And again, if you want to make sure you have all of these right at your fingertips, just go to X at TTV Research and make sure to like and subscribe to the stream if you're enjoying the content we're bringing you guys. Back to you.
Yes. All right. Donald Trump just tweeted. Here it is. We pay hundreds of billions of dollars to subsidize, capital letters, Canada. Why? There's no reason. We don't need anything they have. We have unlimited energy, should make our own cars, and have more lumber than we can ever use. Without this massive subsidy, Canada ceases to exist as a viable country. Harsh but true. No, it's not me, that's him. Harsh but true. Therefore, Canada should become our cherished 51st state. Much lower taxes and far better military protection for the people of Canada, and then capital letters, and no tariffs. All right, Donald, thank you for chiming in midday. I do expect this for the next 4 years. Again, I never traded during the first Trump. I did, like the tail end during COVID, the first administration, but that was really more COVID than it was Donald Trump, right? And so I didn't really know what to expect. So I was talking to people that did trade during the first Trump administration, the likes of Neil, the likes of Sean, the likes of Brendo, and others. And I was told to expect volatility every single day. You know, he wakes up, sits on the can, he's got his phone in his hands, right? he goes on to X, he moves the market, right? Like, that's kind of what I do expect.
Like, I mean, that
Right? I
would
do
be,
expect this, though, right?
I mean, again, we all know who Donald, what kind of character Donald is.
Yep.
I said it before, man. I don't think he's gonna wake up every day and choose violence. There will be days where he's like, I feel like moving the markets, but you know what I mean, or whatever, because we know he's a financial man, right? So, but by all means, we just got to take it for what it is and the volatility that comes with it. I mean, it's all fun and games and stuff, but then it can get extremely real too, guys. Like you're really tampering with people's emotions and most definitely their bank accounts with the markets. So, I mean, I love it. To be honest with you, I'm only going to take it with a grain of salt, or however the saying goes. I won't hold too much weight to it. But I mean, you got to enjoy what he has to say. But I don't think we're going to head into that form of direction where we're the 51st state. And I mean, we can be self-sufficient at the end of the day if we really choose to and make some right political decisions, I think. So.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, it's really creating a lot of emotions on this side. I want to say that I've seen more emotional responses from people government officials, where I typically hadn't seen emotional responses in the past, who have been more rational than anything else. It's really eliciting a lot of emotion. And so that kind of makes me wonder about, the negotiation side of this, because I think, people don't make rational decisions when they are highly emotional. I mean, there's that whole Godfather saying. Remember that Godfather saying, his anger clouded his judgment about, you talk about his brother, Sonny Corleone, right? Anyway, so we'll have to wait and see. And I think by all this as well, it's going to be harder to convince Canadians who are at least somewhat sympathetic with his thoughts, with his approach, to even be able to speak out. Because if you speak out right now in Canada, in favor of some sort of economic union, in favor of anything he's doing, you're a social pariah right away. You will be kind of like, but you're not patriotic, this, that, and the other, and it's becoming a social stigma a little bit to be that way. And so because of this polarization, I think it kind of tightens up negotiations in a way that maybe not that good. So we'll have to wait and see how this all ends up panning out. But what an interesting time, obviously, for these markets. We're, again, as day traders, we yearn for volatility. And we're getting it in spades right now, baby. So that is up. I don't know what's the deal with Parliament being shut down, Richard. It's quite pathetic. We should definitely have our Parliament functioning in a time like this. But the government right now that's in power in all its wisdom has decided that, no, their political party is ahead of importance right now of the national interest, so they're going to continue to prorogue Parliament. Prorogue basically is to suspend. All right, I'm looking at REBN, guys, because it's been hugging VWAP. It's been hugging that $6 level, Andre, which is not that far away from VWAP right now. It's about 580 something. It's putting in higher highs and higher lows. But again, with REBN, it's got to take out that pre-market high. Pre-market high is around 8 and a fifth. If we don't get anywhere around 8, I'm not trading this. It's just not valid under my system, so I'm going to stay away from that. It's OKLO, that I'm all eyes and ears on right now. This thing is bull flagging again. It's been bull flagging. It's coming to the higher end of the flag component portion of the bull flag. It's coming into that $45 area, very, very close to the breakout. It's respecting the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. You don't see it right here on this chart because I don't have it, but I'm looking at it right now. My side chart, it's up 7.75%. Here come the highs. 44.87 is the high. We're printing 80s right now, so you guys get it. We are near the highs on OKLO. This is a good look right now. It's a good look, but I don't want to get it off this level. I'd like it off the 10 exponential. That has to dip down to about 44.5. This one looks like it is poised to take out Friday's high. Well, Friday's high is around 45.25. So number one, let's get 45. That's psychological resistance being the whole dollar. And then maybe we can talk about that 45.25 from Friday high. Did you see Clarissa Ward fight on the weekend?
No.
Bro, that girl's got dynamite in her hands, man.
Clarissa Shields.
My bad, yeah.
Did she? My buddy was telling me that Isak Cruz fought on the weekend.
He
too,
did.
but I didn't.
He
Were they on the
unanimous
same card?
decision.
Were they on the same card?
Yeah.
Who did he fight?
Pretty sure. I forget his name. It was,
Yeah,
it was another
nobody.
guy.
Again, they were boxing.
No,
nobody.
he wants a fight against Garcia,
Yeah, I
or
think
he
so.
wants against Tank or Garcia.
Well, he already fought
following that
Tank.
up. He wants it again.
He wants
Yeah,
it again. I
yeah.
mean, Tank beat him with one hand. The thing is, with Garcia though, he's too big for Isak. Isak is
Isak's a little guy.
But he's like head forward, just like
What's
you
the
can
thing?
hit him as many times as you want, and he probably won't hit the canvas or anything along those lines.
No, he doesn't go down often.
Did you watch that Alex Karp interview on
Not yet.
CNBC?
I will now.
Alex Karp is, you know that saying, would you rather be loved or feared? You've heard that saying, right? Yeah. Well, that's Alex Karp, and he's definitely the individual who was like, I would rather be feared and rule with an iron fist.
Oh yeah.
This guy is
100%.
fear.
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
He wants everybody to be scared at the weaponry that he can create. So I like that interview. It's a good one from
Dangerous guy.
He's really dangerous. But it may be in a good way as well.
Yeah.
We had a couple super chats here, Sharif.
Okay.
One is there it is. From many 35. I forget what currency that is. 35.90. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for the awesome content. Love it. I sold some shares pre-market, regretting it now. Don't regret anything. And then we got a $5 super chat. We'll get to that as well. Sharif, thoughts on SOPA?
I'm looking at it.
But as for selling shares, Friday evening, I told myself in my swing account, I'm going to cut half of my swing position on iBet, and I did that, and I feel no ways about it. So if you locked in some gains on that selling when you sold some shares, then congratulations to you. But let's see what Sharif's got going on with SOPA.
You feel no ways about it, eh?
I don't know. I'm at peace, actually, my friend.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, because you made some money.
Yeah, I made some money.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? I still have half the position on, right? But again, we go to that FIFA
Hold on,
rule.
you took off half?
In the swing, right?
Right,
2 days, 2
right.
days. So we go to that FIFO aspect, right? First in, first out, which it moved my average up just a little bit. But again, I'm not too worried about it. Maybe, I don't know if I'm going to buy any just yet, but I think in the near future we'll be able to go.
All right,
more.
sounds good. Yeah. All right, here it is, guys. SOPA, it's a good look. We are just above VWAP right now. Look, this one is not respecting VWAP much, if at all. Yeah, look, at times it feels like it is. Like in the pre-market, there was times where it definitely looked like it was bouncing off VWAP. But like, how do you explain this over here? I mean, this was just, VWAP looks like the line of best fit almost at times because it's like going through the middle of the price action. We do respect it. It looks like over here as a level of resistance, and then we break through it at that 2 1/3. And now we're looking at 2 1/2. We're still below the, what is this, the pre-market high? No, this is the after the bell high. So technically the high of the day on SOPA is that 275. Here comes 2 2/3. We're breaking through the $0.50. It's a hell of a rounded bottom there. Where's Big Spile when you need him? Oh, the dude right away, bro. True to form, this guy, man. He messages me last night when the market's tanking, when the futures open, and he's like, let it begin. You can tell the dude was salivating over there at the opportunity for the shorts, but we've loaded up SOPA right now on a trading screen, and I do apologize for the gap in data there on some of the white charts. We'll make up for that by showing you the data on the black charts. Not sure what that's about today, but it is rejecting for the moment, coming back down to around 240. I'm a buyer at 230. So let's go ahead and throw it in order there. I'm going to front run 230. We're going to put it at 33s, and we'll see what we get, and we won't get upset, as my friend Neil likes to say. So VWAP is exactly 230, 229 actually. So we'll look to front run it for a VWAP hold here. It's a nice rounded bottom, and again, what I'm looking at is this consolidation area below VWAP, and then we incrementally put higher highs and higher lows, working back above the volume weighted average price. Something tells me that this may not be as directional as some of the other small gapper traders that we've had. We're going to have to work into this one maybe by adding on some of the declines. It's up nicely, up 58 and change, maybe a little bit more. Let's talk about the some of the details of this bad boy. It's an $8.6 million market cap. And it's got about 85, 86 almost million shares traded on the day. And it's got a float of a light, very light, 1.875 million shares. And let's find out what the short float is. If any, negligible, says trade ID as 0.56. Nothing to really write home about there. But we'll keep tabs on this monster. It's a good look right now on SOPA. Try to pick it up off the volume weighted average price. I'm keeping my eye on Astis. because it's coming back down to VWAP. I'm also keeping my eye on UNG and OKLO. They're both getting pullbacks. UNG is getting a pullback into the 10 exponential moving average, of which it's been very respectful on the day. I'm talking about UNG, the nat gas ETF. It's up 10%. Likely due, obviously, to tariffs and the issues with energy coming out of Canada, et cetera, respectful of the 10 at it right now. Looks like it might be an interesting retracement, maybe down into the 20 or VWAP, so keeping an eye on that. OKLO as well, rejecting 45, hitting 44.87, is now coming down into 44. It's breaching the 10 exponential. But as you've seen, most of the breaches of the 10 exponential have been bought up. So is this an opportunity we can pick up OKLO at these levels? Well, we've got it ready here on a trading screen. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to weasel in. Let me think. No, it's breaching. Let me see where this candle closes. If this candle closes above the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, we got 2 more minutes left on this candle on the 5 on OKLO. If it bounces back and reclaims the 10 exponential, I'll buy. But if we close below, I'm not going to buy. So I will have to wait till this current candle on OKLO closes. Again, we've got about a couple of minutes left, give or take right now. Ronak Kumar, Sharif, do you think Canadian energy stocks would rise or fall seeing the tariffs? I personally think that they fall. A couple of reasons. One, obviously they become more expensive, 10% more expensive, so maybe demand for them drops a little bit. In addition to that, even though the current government has said they will not impose export tariffs or export ban on oil to the United States because they don't want one part of the country to bear the burden more than the others. That would mean Alberta, the main province that produces oil, would bear the brunt of the tariffs more than the others. So they've made it clear they don't want that to be the case. However, that is for now, underline for now. If this thing continues to advance and you want to use maybe more arrows in your quiver, then you throw that on there. And if that's the case, if there's an export ban to the United States, Canadian companies get hurt, no question about it, because we don't have the infrastructure to export elsewhere. Full stop, okay? We've had 10 years of no building, of building nothing, okay? So we don't have the infrastructure to maneuver in the way that we would like to. And that's a sad state of affairs to say, but it is the truth. So we're gonna have to keep an eye at exactly what the government will do in response. Hopefully they don't impose export bans or export tariffs on U.S. or on Canadian energy. Now, that's kind of very similar to what the Chinese are looking at doing in response to the 10%. They want to impose an export ban on critical minerals, like their rare earth elements like cobalt, lithium, and some others, right? Obviously, China's the heavyweight in that, Canada being another heavyweight, but we don't have the infrastructure to extract it again because we haven't been building for 10 years. But that's the case. So just keep that in mind when you think about some of the repercussions that could eventually take place, because I don't think we haven't seen everybody's cards. A lot of people hiding their cards, keeping them close to their chest because you don't want to expose your hands. So
I mean, it's still early days with this tariff, and again,
absolutely,
I think it's starting to be implemented on Tuesday, I believe. But we know that our premier has definitely taken some action against what is to come. As I show you, so he's banning all American liquor in the LCBO. So the Liquor Control Board of Ontario will no longer be selling American spirits, beer, etc., wine. So there you go. There's step one in the response to some of these tariffs, guys. But we got another $5 super chat. The only 4.0 Sound, RGTI, QBTS have the same 4-hour charts. I want to invest, but I don't know if I should add now or wait for a trend break above or below to go long. All right, well, there's quite a bit of tickers there. So what we'll do is we'll go through, I believe, the most common one here, and a lot of people have been trading, and that is Rigetti Computing. Now, you're looking at the 4-hour chart. Let's take a look. Not a chart that I necessarily always pull up, but you're looking to add to some of this. So let's start with just the allocation aspect of what you're doing. Now, what I do is I don't like to go just full throttle, all in at once. What I like to do is break up what I'm looking to allocate in either fifths or in quarters, all right? So you don't have to necessarily go, if you're looking to buy a couple grand worth of RTTI, you don't just go all in at once, like, okay, $2,000 at $12.59. No, split that up. Maybe go 200, 250 to start, then you can do, if you're looking to average in, you can put in another 250 or 500, and then you can build up to that $2,000 that you're looking to allocate in whatever asset you are. But as for now, we are holding on to some key support levels. Is there going to be potentially more downside? I mean, as of right now, we've failed to construct a new high, so a lower high on that front, but really trading towards the lower range of what's going on here on the 4-hour chart. If we were to break it to the downside, then, okay, just sit on your hands, be a little more patient, look for the next level to be hit, which may be around that 971 level, or maybe somewhat in the mid-range. But again, you're not fully allocated. You've added a little bit. That gives you the ability to DCA, but then also just get into, over time, the full position that you're looking for. So essentially, you're not risking more. You're just positioning yourself slightly better in that aspect, and that's something that I like to do, and I often do in my swing trades, instead of just going all in at once, all right? So maybe be patient. It's up to you. It's your capital. But come up with a definitive game plan. Stick to the game plan, whether it works or not. Just document the data and take it from there. If it's working for you, then look to add into strength. If it's not, then slowly build into that position as well too, guys. So thank you, the 4 only, for the $5 super chat. Hopefully that helped you a little bit and gave you some more insight on what you can possibly do with those positions. But guys, we have Bitcoin starting to sell a little bit here now, around that 55.90 on iBit. And we're still short some TSLL as well too, guys. But we're going to see what Adara's up to over at the big desk.
Yes, but this part of the show is brought to you by Prop Firm Match. Are you a skilled trader but lacking capital? Prop firms offer the opportunity to trade with simulated funds, which allows you to showcase your skills, access account sizes ranging from 5K to 500K, and you can start with as little as 20 bucks. With over 500 prop firms out there, how do you find out which ones are the best? That's where Prop Firm Match steps in. Prop Firm Match is your go-to platform for finding and comparing only the most esteemed firms with proven track records and consistent long-term payment histories. Access over 4,500 verified reviews, explore payout histories, and discover the best current deals all in one place. Scan that QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today and find the perfect prop firm for you. It's been a pretty wild day today here. NASDAQ recovering a lot of its losses from earlier, but still unable to crack that 520 barrier, down about 1% on the day. S&P 500 looking pretty similar here, though. We're talking the area just below 600 that S&P 500 is struggling with, down about 0.75% here for the SPY. We had some comments from Fed's Collins earlier. These were not on the schedule because she actually just spoke on CNBC, but saying that if there's a one-term tariff, that might not be super inflationary. We just have these one-time tariffs. But there's quite a few reasons here. We have long-term rates moving the way they have been, saying that there is still, no rush to cut rates here. So a lot of caution on the part of the Fed, nothing new. Let's take a look here at some of these tickers on watch, including GM. This was something that really had this push to the downside or gap down earlier here on tariffs, then getting this little bit of recovery. And this volume here came when we had comments from Claudia Sheinbaum saying that she had talked to Donald Trump here. That is the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum. And she said she talked to Trump and that they're going to be delaying the tariffs in Mexico for a month. This has been confirmed by Donald Trump. So we have no word on Canada yet, though Trudeau and Trump are set to meet at 3 p.m. today, but Mexico at least being able to skirt some of these tariff issues for a month. So keep an eye on any Chinese-related stocks as well with regards to tariffs and anything like GM. We also have the Telegraph reporting that Trump is considering hitting EU with 10% tariffs now as well. So more tariff talks. That's going to be on watch all day. Make sure to like, subscribe, and join us every single day if you're enjoying this content. And we're going to go back to Neil and his lesson of the day. Take it away, Neil.
Thank you so much, Adara. And one of the things that I actually heard the Midday Boys talk about, and this is kind of what led to what I wanted to discuss, is you're in a different environment in terms of trading and reacting to news, headlines, that sort of thing. Now, it's one thing when, just as an example, all the issues like Boeing had like a couple of years ago, where it's like every single week there seemed like there'd be bad news, and that particular stock you're watching at any moment a headline could drop. Or maybe you've got like some kind of an event like a Meta or Apple in the afternoon. You know that there's going to be something in the afternoon that day at any given moment. They're doing a presentation, and that could have specific news. Usually we're in tune with a sector or a specific stock that you know is going to be headline driven. Particularly today, it was sort of obvious that it didn't matter what you were trading, but we're going to be sensitive to things like these shocks and tariffs. I mean, as a trader, ultimately, to keep the politics out of it. But if there's going to be some kind of there's a delay on tariffs, or no, that was a lie, they're back on for the first, which is what we heard. We have seen sharp moves that affect literally everything, whether it's oil stocks, whether it's healthcare, whether it's tech, whether it's transportation, whether it's auto. Like, they're all moving in the same regard. And I think there's a few things that you can do in that particular situation. You've got to adjust your risk accordingly. Now, that can come multiple ways. One of them, if you don't use stop orders, they can absolutely save you. And I'm just going to show you what happened here in Rigetti. Now, I wasn't short in Rigetti, but if you were trending down in this name, you wouldn't necessarily think the quantum names should care too much. But the initial candle, when we had that reversal on quality talks between Mexico and the U.S., that goes right to VWAP. It basically took a reversion that was 30 minutes long, and in the first 3-minute candle, it's already pulling it back into VWAP. So what you can immediately expect is extra slippage in a situation like this. Now, how you combat this, and one of the reasons I'm bringing it up there, I'll show you that was one of the more extreme candles because it was off of the bottom, obviously. But just looking at something like a GM in here, like where this one was absolutely cruising, this was the candle right there. And the one thing you can anticipate with slippage is, if it breaks through a key level, it's probably going to slip a little bit. One thing you can do, which I didn't in this particular case, is be wary of tightening up your stops. So what that means is as it drifts further away from that key top, whether it's this one or this one, just follow and trail along with it. As if there is a sharp reversal, you don't necessarily want to get trapped in it, whether you've taken out some or all or whatever the plan of action might be. In this particular case, putting a trail at any one of the prior highs allows you to be in like the liquidity zone as opposed to when it's cracking out of it. So that's one of the things that definitely can help you to tighten things up. I didn't do it, and obviously a lot of times when you do like mean reversion, there's my in, there's my out sort of thing, you leave your order in, it doesn't violate, you sort of stay in the trade. That's great, but when news hits, you can get that type of an execution, which is not ideally what you want. So adjusting your plan of action to exit trades is one thing that you can do, and I think trailing stops are a pretty good example of one way that you can mitigate some of the risk of extra slippage when you get a volume candle like that. And then the other side of that equation becomes, well, once you see that type of a move, I'm not saying you have to reverse, but there's some places where you're just going to want to reverse. And ultimately, okay, just as an example right here, on NVIDIA, it's a complete seed change on this stock. It was already not breaking the lows, which is part of the reason I like the reversion on this one to eventually get into the long trade. Anything that was breaking lows, like an Apple, maybe you stick with it. But something that in that moment wasn't already making higher lows, that becomes a more explosive type of long reversal, because it's not just that you have the positive news, you have the unwind of all of the short that was working in the morning, in the pre-market, right before the open, all of that also has to unwind, which gives you that reversal trade in there. Now, ultimately, the reason why I'm saying this is because I didn't actually get it till the second pullback. The first pullback after the news was the best one into that prior level. So if you're a little quicker to jump over and do your, hey, this stock is above the price that I was shorting it, or this stock is now, I guess, a bit of a sea change above a key level, or it's done a big reversion. Jumping quickly to the reversal, I'm not saying you have to buy it on the way up. Stay on target, like resistance into support. That's part of a normal plan. Just be willing to take that first dip buy, which I wasn't willing to do at that particular moment. And then that's another way that you can make the adjustment, because it's not just about wider stops or tighter stops or reacting to news. It's also about the ability to say, hey, it's completely flipped the script on this particular name, and I need to be trading it in the other direction. Now, the ones that are making lows like Apple, it's one thing. But once you make this break on NVIDIA, which, by the way, is trying to revert this trend, I'm looking for this long in here, you got to be quicker to flip it up. And I wasn't fast enough to flip this one up. So first things first, protect yourself, tighten your stops up, knowing something is going to be headline driven. You can tighten it up to there or there. I can tighten it up to make sure that you don't get a ridiculous execution on news. I am always going to favor limit orders in a certain sense. So I'm not using market orders, but you can always adjust your plan of action to the way the market is moving. And when you know any headline, any comment is likely to cause spikes, those are going to have the algos pull their liquidity. And if you're sitting too far out there with your stop order, you can get punked, right? And you can turn there's no reason that should be a losing trade for me. Right? Like, it shouldn't be. Not when it was working to the downside in the money and I could have trailed it to here when it broke trend. Or I could have trailed it up here. So it shouldn't be, but you've got to be able to move on. Adjust your trading strategy so that you're able to grab profits when it's working for you, protect the profits when something extreme happens in that particular moment. And as I'm saying that, I just got a fill here at 48.4 on GM. So first thing I do is I'm going to move my trail to the lower high, just as I was saying. So there's your lesson of the day. In a news-based and news-driven market, you've got to alter your plan of action for executions so that you don't get those crazy spikes and get bad prices. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck indeed. Thank you very much, Neil. Appreciate that midday lesson. Neil Roberts every day around noon hour. He's dropping his lesson of the day. All right, let's cover the trades that we currently got on. So I got Oklo off the 10 exponential. We've taken it out all the way into 4.5. Now it's encountering some resistance over here. I've moved down my my next profit taker from above 60 to below 60 because we keep rejecting off this 60 penny area. Now what's keeping me in the trade is we still got higher lows, looking like we want to accumulate for a flat top break, at least locally over here into 44.60, showing 50s right now, technically 48. So we'll see if this one wants to continue putting in higher lows or what the situation is with OKLO. Here comes 50. I'm waiting at 59s. Let's see if this one wants to cross. There it is. Now we get the print. Good move here on OKLO. 87s, guys, is the high. So I'm going to wait for a break and take, possibly of 8.7. OKLO up 7.25. This is the Sam Altman nuclear energy play name. As I mentioned you guys earlier, Danny Ives, big Danny Ives of Wedbush was on the compound this weekend, and he was pounding the table about OKLO, as many other things, because we know Danny Ives, a noted bull, obviously, no question about that. Make sure to like and subscribe, guys. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe, and most importantly, I would say, hit that share. It's the only way we can really grow the platform without really relying on YouTube's algorithm. So if you guys could share the stream, it would be really, really, really positive of you guys. What was that, Fabian? Fabian? Yeah? Share it.
Share it.
Share it to someone, according to Fabian, who really needs a lesson. And that's actually really good. Thank you, Fabian.
That's a good one there. Yeah, I remember when I first stumbled across Trader TV Live, it was me, Greg V, and a bunch of other American friends of mine, and then I showed them the channel, and now the majority of them watch now.
Greg V is American, eh?
Yeah, he lives over
that's right, Connecticut. You always told me. I always forget about that.
From Detroit and Phoenix as well, too. Well,
because you're saying you discuss off Discord.
Yeah, exactly. So, those guys are all American. But Mr. C, another $2 super chat. They're flying in again today.
Hey.
Bronx Tale. Fear lasts longer than love, and that's what I was referring to. That one saying, would you rather be loved or feared? It's the start of one of the songs I have on one of my playlists. I forget which one it is. But officially on Bird and I are talking a little bit about the overall market. He put on a VIX trade via puts, so we went long some puts on the VIX. Good job there. I like that trade, especially on the spike in the morning, and then as the market starts to appreciate, you get that inverse correlation. So those puts were printing for you. He said he hit it 1-to-1, and then he asked me my opinion. So what happened was last night on Sundays is when I put out my orders for my spreads just for that passive income, and I had one on the SPY. And I'm short-term bearish the market. I do think that we have put in a top. So what I had there officially was like the 615, 620 bear call. But then with the gap down this morning, it just exceeded that strike price. So those contracts are starting to diminish, and the chances are of me getting filled are extremely low. I do have a GTC. So good till cancel, so I could get a fill at any moment. But I mean, as of right now, it's not looking like I'm going to. And day by day, if I don't get that, then we know what's going to happen with those credit spreads, that theta is going to diminish the value of those contracts. But I do, for the short term, as of right now, I think we have put in somewhat of a top here on the market, but we do still have some big earnings names, guys, which could send the market to all-time highs. But as of right now, I'll emphasize again, I think that around 610, a little bit above it, whatever the all-time high is, may be, we might consolidate in this range for some time. So that's why I like to put on in like the bear call spreads, using the highs as your stop loss, and etc. But with this sideways price action, that's where the iron condors come into play. That's where you want to play those market neutral strategies, especially in times of uncertainty. Even though the earnings are supporting some of these moves higher, we've got the tariffs coming in and some possible some more headwinds for the market in the short term. Long term, still bullish, but as of right now, you got to play the ebbs and flows of the market, and I'm slightly bearish on the overall market trade.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
A new small cap gapper being called out by you guys. Not the biggest mover on the day. Looks like 28 and change. CYCN. Cyclorion? I don't know. Therapeutics, whatever. CYCN. Here it is. Trading a little bit below 5, it got up into that 519. So what I like about this one, we're above the pre-market high. It breached that $5 area. That was technically $4.99 was the pre-market high on CYCN. So now it's trading within our rules, right? Above the volume weighted average price, above the pre-market high, with a definable, a very definable pre-market high with good volume. I mean, like, I'll give you an example. This candle that made the pre-market high there was on 1 million shares per 5-minute candle. So that's a sufficient amount. 520 HOD, it's putting in higher highs and higher lows. It's not really a VWAP-based trade. And what I mean by that is it's not, you know, we're using VWAP as support and resistance. What it does look like it's doing is putting in higher lows with very, topping tail candles being the norm here. So you can expect aggressive shorting maybe at key levels. Like when we got over here with 5, it ended up dropping it all the way breaching 4. So maybe when we get to 6, we see a retracement down to 5. Here are the details on CYCN. It's a $13 2/3 million market cap with 13 million shares traded on the day. It's got 2.1 million share float. And the short float on it, let's find out, 1.56% says Trade Ideas. It's trading at the highs right now. I perceive there to be some support at $5 initially, with really more of the support, I'd say, around $4.85. Given that local top there at 1030. So we'll see if this one wants to hold 5. It's looking like a breakout trade right now through that $5 area, again, which would make sense, right? Because that $5 was the pre-market high, being $4.99, then we rejected off it. So CYCN has earned its way onto the side chart. We're taking off, who are we taking off? We're taking off USEG over here. So CYCN, throwing that on there. Now, how we trade this is going to be an entirely different story. It's at $5 right now. As I mentioned, though, I perceive there to be some support at 485 to 480. In fact, the 10 exponential moving average on CYCN is at that 4 3/4 right now. So what's the deal with this one? How are we going to trade this one? We already got it up over here. Again, guys, I do apologize for the gap there in data on these white charts. Not sure what that's all about, but we've got the data right here. So you guys should be more than apprised of what took place in between that area. So that's the look right there. Keeping an eye on this one, Joseph, CYCN. Yes. Now, OKLO did breach that $0.75 area. I've got my next beak wetter, which is the last beak wetter for OKLO, through that break of 490. So we've rejected multiple times in the 44 high 80s, with 87 being the high of the day. What's kept me in this trade is the higher low situation. Every candle successively higher than its predecessor. But if that changes and we end up breaching my entry, which we're at right now, so we got right back into my entry. I'm long 16s. We're showing 15s now on the ask. Anything below 05s, I'm out. And we'll look to basically re-enter on this one at a key support level. Key support levels for me at around $42. That's where VWAP is. That's also the top end of the initial bull flag on OKLO. That was the initial bull flag over here. You can see 42 was resistance there initially. VWAP is hanging out at that $42 level right now on OKLO. So if we breach that higher low situation on OKLO, getting out have no problem getting back in, but it's got to set up in the right way. Coming back down though, now it looks like it's a bit of a sell. So we'll keep tabs on that one. CYCN breaching 5. Here we go. So this one's coming in possibly into that 480s, 4 high 70s. I'm a buyer around there, despite the fact that VWAP's at 453. I don't want to base a trade on VWAP because I don't feel CYCN has been respecting the volume weighted average price. It would be silly for me to try to base a trade off that if my interpretation is that it's not respecting those levels. So let's get small share size here initially. Let's just get in so that we can say we're involved in the trade, and we'll look to scalp. Okay, it's already breaking out. So we'll look to put some orders to see if this bad boy wants to continue breaking out or what the situation is. But I want to save the majority of the add position into that 480, 4 high 70s. We'll see what comes out of this trade, Joseph. What do you got on your side there, brother?
Man, we got a lot going on here.
All right.
So, yeah, so what we did on Tesla, Los Pollos, we'll talk in a second about what we got going on with Apple, because I do like that find. I think you're keeping your eyes out and you're paying attention to the correlation of volume and price. So we're going to talk about that in a brief second. But here we go with Tesla. We took the short here. Then we came back, stopped out, break even. As we entered the top of that range, I started to see that volume pick up. So I'm like, okay, let me see if we're going to break to the top side. But sure enough, price action slowly started to curl over. So I got out not exactly when I should have. It should have been at the break at 24, so it's slightly late. But then we take the short below the volume weighted average price, and now trading around 23.5s. So we got to milk this one. We didn't add when we should have at the hold of VWAP there, acting as somewhat as resistance. But here we go to the south side. But then Los Pollos, that's Tesla. I seen someone in the chat mention something about Palantir getting a contract with the government of Ecuador or something along those lines, which this thing is now trading higher. So maybe we'll get, if Adara sees anything, she'll be sure to let us know on it. But yeah, 82.98 on Palantir. It was my number one idea this morning. Apple and Palantir were my number one ideas. And unfortunately, I didn't execute well on them. But here we go, 83.05 is Palantir, Alex Karp and company, ruling with that iron fist that Alex likes to do. So, but yeah, here we go. Los Pollos, let's talk about what we got going on with Apple. So we know that the opening drives in the first hour of the session, extremely weak. But you start to see these indecision candles forming around that low, and you start to slowly curl over in price action. So you can see a little bit of buying pressure start to step in, but you're talking about this 5-minute candle right here. I do like that. One thing that we're going to have to keep in mind is that look at this volume. It's not necessarily turn around, but when you have a form of them in conjunction and you see this buying pressure start to pick up, so that means sellers push the price down. Now buyers pushing it back up. That can say, hey, maybe we're slowly going to start to curl back over. And here you go. If you played the break of that candle, you're almost $1 in the money at that point. And what we do, our risk is already defined. Thesis is invalid if we break 225.81. We're at a dodge. But as of right now, Los Pollos, let's see if we get that pullback somewhat to the next support or resistance zone. That could put us around that 228.50 level, which could be a nice pullback here on Apple. And if we want to take a look at it from a daily perspective, man, so we gap up on after the earnings, fill that whole gap again to the downside, and then have an additional gap down, heading towards those lows. So putting in that double-digit negative from those all-time highs here on Apple, once again, down about 13% from those all-time highs. Well, some of the rest of the market is really starting to trade higher. As I mentioned before, we got PLTR, 83.19s now, new high of day. 83.19, my guy, new high of day. There we go, close to those all-time highs. We got Meta as well, too, close to those all-time highs, almost putting in a new high day as well, putting in that $700 tag on Meta platform. So XLC really moving higher because we got Google as well starting to trade higher on the session. Yeah, this guy's loving it right now, loving the analysis. So 203.20 we got on Google, starting to approach that high a day. So are we as weak as we think we are? I don't know. We got some big names moving to the top side.
Gotta go to Adara. She's got something breaking news at the big desk.
There we go.
Yeah, Sharifa, you might like this. It's actually small cap related breaking news, which we very rarely have at midday anyway, but we have IVVD. This is a ticker that was trading sharply higher early today. It was featured on our small cap recap, and it's getting a second win with tons of volume here as Martin Shkreli, who is, of course, formerly known as the Pharma Bro, did tweet in favor of the stock. He said that it's bit of a contrarian COVID pick. So that's actually going to be on watch here for IVVD. This one trading sharply to the upside. Again, this is a penny stock hanging on around 80 cents, but IVVD getting some volume. Make sure to check that one out. And make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content that we're bringing you guys. Back to you.
I don't know. See, Neil just wrote in the chat, Walmart, almost $100, trading at $99.77 right now. Like this thing is, I don't know. This thing might be the best stock in the S&P here. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. Love it. Talked about XLP being strong on the session. So here we go with Walmart constructing a new all-time high, 99.76 there on WMT. So really good look there. I seen these indecision candles here, and I'm like, is this where we get in? And sure enough, we didn't pull any triggers, and that's what happens when you don't take the shots that you're supposed to. You miss 100% of them that you don't take. So there you go.
All right, guys. In what's it called? CYCN right now at 90s. We're 91s. We're printing 90s. It did bottom tail off 70, then got bought quite aggressively. So I got stopped out of the initial entry that we're in, and now we're in at 91s. It's going to have to hold up above 80s. That's where I see support. So we'll see if this one wants to pop off. I just got a couple of prints into 5, but it's not as forthcoming to the high side as it initially was. So we'll keep tabs on this one. Oklo, I've got one out left on this bad boy, and I'm waiting for that high a day break. It's still technically putting in higher lows. A bit of a compression pattern now because we've got higher lows with lower highs. So that ain't the look. Anything below 44.05, like I've told you about, we're risking 10 pennies for the last out over here. Otherwise, it's going to have to break to the high side. So those are the ones that I'm looking at right now. But I see a possible flat top break starting to manifest here on UNG. It's looking real good because it's got higher lows with a flat top. This is the look right now on UNG. This is the Nat Gas ETF. Technically, the high of the day is 92. We're printing 90s right now. Very respectful of the 10 exponential, not giving up any of the move to the high side. It's a little bit light on volume, but that's okay. I mean, I think the spread is sound on it. I think it's about a 2 or 3 penny spread, so you should be good. Technically, 92s is the flat top break, but you kind of feel this one might get a little parabolic and take out 18s. We'll see. It's higher low situation with a flat top. UNG looking strong on the day, but that is the look right now. Clean up your stops, people, because if you don't, you'll get short like I just got accidentally right now on OKLO. But it looks like I'm in the money. So maybe we'll let this one bleed a little bit more, and then we'll flatten out a little bit here, Joseph. There it is. All right, cool. We'll take a little bit of a move down there. Now, so got stopped out of Oklo, but holding right now. CYCN, looking for this one to reclaim 5. It's got a higher low, showing me 95s now on the ask. I'm throwing out a couple of resting orders to take advantage of any spike in the price and then to be able to basically get printed. But it's going to have to hold up above that previous level that I talked about. Otherwise, we want no smoke with this one. I'm going to have to keep UNG up on a trading screen. I think I do have it over here. Yeah, it's an interesting one, though. You're going to have to get it on, I think I need to get it on a pullback. So maybe a breach in between the 10 and the 20 exponential. That seems to be the money fill right now on the 5-minute on UNG. So these are the kind of the money fills that I'm talking about. It breaches the 10 exponential ever so briefly, works back above it. The closing prints look to be above the 10, but having trouble, though, with 92. So those are the trades I'm looking at the moment, keeping an eye, obviously, on OKLO, see if we get that $45 break for that second continuation bull flag. Obviously involved in CYCN, looking for that to hold up. I was involved very briefly on SOPA. We lost about 6 pennies, quick as you like on that one. Had a dip trade waiting at VWAP. That was a mistake. I made it very clear that this one wasn't respecting VWAP, so I don't know why I threw an order out at VWAP there. And again, VWAP seems to be the line of best fit more than an area of support or resistance. So SOPA, it's up 50%, but looking really like it is in a bit of a consolidative look right now with marginally higher lows. If you kind of gauge that opening print at 930, the lows there were 205. Now we're talking about 215 lows. So it is technically putting in higher lows, but not by all that much. So those are the small cap gappers I'm keeping my eye on. Adara brought us a new one midday. What was that ticker again, Adara? Okay. IBVD? BVD. Let's have a look at that one. IVBD? IVBD. Let's have a look. Say that again, Andre. IBBD, there we go, got it. Okay, I still don't have it, but that's okay. So we'll keep tabs out. Once I find out the ticker, we'll let you guys know. So I'm keeping my eye on those bad boys, but Adair's got something for us at the big desk.
Yeah, the ticker is IVVD. I just triple confirmed that. That is I, V as in vegan, V as in vegan, D as in dog. That is the ticker there. We also have here the NASDAQ, which I want to point out here. There's some clear resistance around that 519 level. And we have comments from Fed's Bostic mentioning, not super shockingly, tariffs here, saying that the current degree of uncertainty has broadened considerably when it comes to rates, and also saying here that apparently tariffs are an aspect of that uncertainty, and it's challenging to figure out how they're going to incorporate that in their plan going forward. So, excuse me, kind of echoing comments that were made by Feds Collins and some of these other Feds as of late. I will keep you guys posted on more comments from Feds Bostic as it continues to speak. Back to you.
Thank you very much. What do you got, Joseph?
Yeah, just still sitting here in this Tesla short, guys, right below the volume weighted average price, continuing to the south side. So let's see what's going to happen with Tesla. Let's pull up the actual underlying asset because I'm using TSLA as a vehicle. So here we are. Let's take a look at this from a daily perspective. And I think it's just really important to understand that where we're sitting on the daily, right around some key support levels. So if we breach this 371, 370, then there might be some more short-term downside in this thing. I mean, we still got a long ways to go. We're bullish on this thing for the foreseeable future, especially with the Donald Trump administration. Him and Elon kind of working beside each other in that aspect. So let's see what happens. This could be an opportunity to get involved in this thing at some cheaper prices instead of buying all the way up here, all the way up at 480 or whatever it may be. But let's also talk about NVDA here, guys. So full disclosure, what happened was I know a lot of people bought this bounce, including myself here, and I got in around 127 as soon as we breached the gap. But then we came back down to the downside, and then around 122, I'm like, yeah, I got to get out of this trade for a swing from a swing perspective because I think there's still some more potential downside on this thing. The momentum was so vast, and there was no definitive turnaround signals in my books to see this thing was ready to re-enter that gap. And we still have that news looming on this thing, so we got to be patient. I think that the signals will display themselves. They don't report until early next month, I believe. So there's still going to be some time in this trade, but I think that signal will be really, really definitive when it does display itself and say, hey, we're ready to turn around in price for a short term or even maybe go back and test some of the levels that we were previously at. So I like NVDA. If you've been grabbing it down here, then good on you. I don't know. I said to Sharif, we might see 100 on this thing, but that may take some time. But as of right now, that momentum is really telling me like, hey, yeah, we might get a little bit lower on this thing. So I'm just going to pack my patience. It's definitely a swing I'm looking to play, but only time will tell, and you have to wait for those trades to set up, and then you can take advantage of them. But we got Redneck Pepe. All right, let me read this before. Okay, so I don't want to read all of this because it is definitely maybe not PG for the show, so maybe I'm going to skip that one. But okay, so Tesla. This one's from me, Sharif. I didn't want to read that one out loud, so from Redneck Pepe. But Tesla low of 374 is low after last week earnings, so one level to keep an eye on, I guess. Yeah, 374 on Tesla. Let's take a quick look. We were just talking about it. It's just, yeah, around that level for sure. I'm just have a general area, like the support system that we have, and if there's some more downside, then you can maybe see the 360s on that front with Tesla. So right now, short-term bearish, but in the long term, we still like the stock here, Sharif.
All right, man. Keeping my eye on IVVD. This one's really squeezing into that $1 area. Good look. Joe's position board's not working, guys. So if we can possibly.
Yeah, I've been in works with them with it.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Yeah. Because people were asking in the chat. All right, guys. I'm still in right now. CYCN. You have 3 candle hold up at 70s. There we go. Now we're moving up into the mid 80s. Just got the print at 85s. Layering the orders to see if we can get a squeeze, maybe into $5 and extract some profitability. But I'm keeping my eye on IVVD. It looks to be the strongest, most directional of the small cap gappers right now, but it is still afflicted by its price south of $1. We've talked about these ones before that trade south of $1. Sometimes they don't have as many eyes on them, or some of the algos that are involved in these small cap gappers are not involved with the sub $1 stocks. Despite the fact that it's up 135% on the day, getting into that dollar area, 89 pennies, technically HOD. Here we go. Maybe we can get that 89 penny break. Let's see if this one can get some good momentum to the high side back into 86. Now, the reason sometimes these ones are a little bit harder to trade, especially, as with the book and the levels, the amount of levels that you have to take out. You're kind of stuck with 4 decimal places. So theoretically, you could have so many different levels where size can get posted that you have to remove before you can continue to price ascend. Now, it shouldn't matter from a notional perspective, but sometimes it does. So we'll keep tabs on that. All right, a couple of more outs over here on CYCN. Now I'm hanging out in the low 90s, showing me 89 now. Good higher low situation, defending that 70 penny area on CYCN. There we go, another couple of outs. Now we're really moving up here on CYCN. Let's see if we can take out that level that I'm waiting at 98. So multiple outs on this bad boy. 95's now showing up, but good volume coming in. And as you can see, remember what orange means, guys, on my time in sales. If you've been watching the show a while, you know that that's buyer exuberance, right? That's people buying above the ask. Green is at the ask, obviously. And why is that important? Well, it's showing you aggression, buyer aggression. They're so excited and aggressive, are they, that they are willing to pay for it above what is the lowest posted offer, which is, well, depending on what the time or the level 2 says there, which was 99s. So let's keep an eye on this one. Looking for this one to break 99s. Let me post a couple of more orders. I should probably have some above that $5 area. Let's throw some orders into the mid 5s as well in case this one gets really aggressive to the high side. Right now, though, $5 acting as a bit of resistance with CYCN. So we'll look to de-risk a little bit over here. Still, I like the chart pattern that it's putting in. I like the higher low situation. I like that 70 penny hold. There's a bunch of stuff that I like about this one, but it's going to have to become a little bit more direction. Let's go back to IVVD. We're pulling back in a bit off that 89 penny area, bouncing off 78 pennies. So the current 5-minute candle on IVVD, still a higher low. So to breach that higher low situation, we got to get below 76.5 pennies. So we're looking to see what the trend is here on IVVD, and I personally would like to pick it up off a higher low. Now, I didn't have one set up this time, so we'll have to keep an eye out on this one, see if we can get it next time on this bad boy. So that's what I'm looking at right now, Joseph. That's all I've got on CYCN. Let's see what this one does.
Hey, good look. So yeah, I was just talking in the chat with Johnny Rodriguez there. He's just telling me to look at the OI there on the chain that we got for NVDA, and he's not wrong. A lot of open interest around that 110 strike there. So expiring this Friday on the February 7th. So 115 and 110 look to be the heavy weighters. Even 105 there, Johnny Rodriguez, to be the most open interest on these contracts. And I mean, it's a little outstanding. We know that with the whole and half dollars where you're going to see more of that open interest in the heavier weights. But as of right now, it's looking like you're right. So I'm curious to see if people are buying those out the monies on those 110s, looking for that move to the downside, but it's going to have to happen pretty quick. I don't know if we get 110 today or throughout the week, but if we do, then some people are going to be cashing out on those. So good luck there. I like that in the chat that you guys pay attention to that stuff, because we can't keep our eyes on everything, and it's just more eyes for us to be like, hey, oh, you're right. Good luck there on that one, and etc. Yeah, I've seen that as well too. MAP, Mexico send 10K troops to the border, which is interesting. And yeah, that's a good look there, guys. But let's get back to what we got cooking up, and that is Tesla still to the downside. So TSLA down 12%, so that would put Tesla around 6%, which is pretty hefty on the session. Are we going to continue lower? I think that we can possibly come and test these lows of days here, guys, on Tesla, especially if that selling volume continues to stay intact. So what you can see here, guys, excuse me, on what we got going on is that volume really starts to kick in. But then on the pullbacks, that volume really starts to stair step down. So that hands some more conviction within the trade like, okay, are we ready to take another leg down? So stair step down, boom, volume steps back into the selling pressure, and the same thing has been occurring time and time again. Have we put in a base? Maybe. We got the Qs trading right above the volume weighted average price right now. And let's take a look at the SPY to see it was slightly stronger on the day. And I mentioned before, that's where I go and I look at some of the top performing sectors. And that's when I've seen XLF, XLP, and XLC all trading significantly higher. So if you're looking for relative strength, and Michael Noss talks about this all the time, is that he's looking for that sector rotation and going to look for those stocks that are relatively stronger than what we got going kind of on in the tech sector right now. So as you gain experience and you start to conclude that, like, hey, tech isn't strong every day, which is unfortunate, and we would like it to be. There's other sectors that are performing, and there's, as Jim Cramer likes to say, there's a bull market somewhere, and he's going to help you find it when he's talking about mad money. So yeah, that's my look there. Let's see if the Qs can hold VWAP, or there's going to be some more downside as we break key support, and the same there with SPY, guys. But let's see what Adair's up to.
More comments here from Fed's boss. He did say that he's not expecting the path to 2% inflation will be a straight line. He did say, though, that he is expecting the outlook for inflation is that it will continue to fall, and saying that apparently the U.S. can support a tighter labor market than it was initially understood. But he also said, like, I mean, I think the key thing is that the Fed needs to get to 2% for the credibility of the institution. So saying that if we can't get to 2%, the institution, I guess, its credibility could be at risk here, guys. So keep an eye here on the market as we have these comments from Fed's Bostic. We have more Fed comments later in the day, but they're all going to be after the close, guys. Back to you.
Dara, I know Sharif was talking about it this morning, so we'll touch on it real quick before we head back to him. But what we got going on for earnings this evening is, I think, the much anticipated Palantir, Alex Karp and company. Looking at that expected move there, guys, 12.9%, so just under 13%. And I heard him say that the previous move was north of 20, which is pretty phenomenal and a really good look there for PLTR. But let's see what we got going on the chain to see where we have the most open interest there, guys. So expiring this Friday, we got that 89 strike price, which is interesting. It has about 16K open contracts, but I'm going to go a little north of that and see what we got going on around the 100. Yeah, so I was thinking maybe 100, but that might be a hefty move. But 89 and 96 have the most open interest, which is odd. But anyways, there they are, about 13K and 11K on those sides there. What do you got going on?
All right, man. We're in IVVD, looking for it to hold up above this level. This is the 10 exponential. It's also the breakout level at 71 pennies that we rejected off at 10.05. So it has to hold up here. Otherwise, this isn't the trade for me. Let's see if it holds up there, or if it does, but just hopefully doesn't stop us out before moving up back on its merry way. We're long 79s. It's showing me 75s right now. I've layered my orders up on this one. It's either going to stop me out or we're going to move back up to the high side. But this is the one we're doing well on right now. Here it is. There we go. We take out CYCN at 5. We take out that $5 print, but these prints are going unprinted up on CYCN, the ones north of 5. So despite the fact that we have a higher low situation on CYCN, we definitely have resistance at $5, and we have for a hot minute. Now, a lot of topping tail candles go into that $5 area, all of which are selling off aggressively. The only thing keeping me optimistic about this trades is the higher low situation and that 70 penny hold, where we know we definitely had resistance. Okay, 501s, 503s now showing up. I should have got printed there. It's a 6 penny spread on this name, so it's a bit of a tougher one. Got into 503. Rejected because it didn't cross. So we'll see if the continuity can continue on CYCN to the high side. Layer your orders because these ones don't hang out in the level for all that long. So doing well on CYCN. To be determined right now on IVVD. It is holding up at the 10 exponential as we speak. So far my ad there at 75 looks okay, but we'll have to wait and see whether this one wants to respect these technical levels or what the situation is. All right, back above into 502 again, into CYCN, going unprinted again. because of the spread. 503s now showing up. I've been waiting at 503s. Nothing printing yet. I'm just too stubborn to move down my orders, so that's the situation with that. We'll throw out some more orders there to see if we can get any liquidity grabs that move to the high side. Again, showing O2s on CYCN, no print so far. Looks like we will reject 5 for now, but just for how long? Back to this one as we were dancing with a couple of these stocks at the same time. Let's see if we can get printed at 82s. That's what I'm waiting here for on IVVD. Coming back into 80s right now, so it's a nice bounce off the 10 exponential, but nothing to write home about yet. Okay, I see I got printed. There we go at 505s. Now, do we get the print at 07s? I'm waiting at 07s and 11s. I've got a larger position on for this one as it comes back down again, south of 5 into the 4 mid-9s. So, yeah, the continuity on this one is very much lacking, except really the higher low situation is what's good, but this is why I'm scalping out with resting orders, because it's not giving you that directional parabolic move like we see on some of these ones. So let's go back into IVVD as we try to curl back off 75 pennies, still south of 80 pennies though. Here comes 79s, 79.5 now selling into that. Let's see if we can cross into 80s, get some prints to the high side here. Looks like there is some buying, but the selling overwhelming the buying right now. Unable to print anything above 80 on IVVD, despite the fact that it's up nicely on the day, up 120%, being kept down though by that 10 penny level at 80s. CYCN is an ugly topping tail candle right now with a breach of 5. However, I'm basically keeping my eye out on my entry price. I've moved up my stop from 60 up into 70. So any breach of 70 and I'm gonzino. Look at the vigor with which this one drops. Ugly topping tail candle, a breach of 5. And here we go, coming back down now aggressively into my entry. We'll talk about that once we're done paying some bills, Joseph.
Hey, that's it, guys. Hive Digital Technologies, NASDAQ HIVE, is pioneering the digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions and Bitcoin mining, a global leader in cutting-edge data center operations with over 2,700 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Hive consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient, green, and clean energy. Learn more by following them at Hive Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com and sign up for free. The Hive newsletter for updates. Scan the QR code and click the link in the description right there, guys. Right in that bottom right-hand corner for you guys. Continue what you got going on there, my guy.
Yeah, just keeping a look at the same names that we've been talking about. So I've moved up my stop, as I mentioned, on CYCN. Scalped quite a bit over there off that 475 entry into 5s, but it's coming right into my entry. Aggressive sell-off right now on CYCN. The higher low situation is in trouble. If it breaks 70, well, then that's the end of the higher low situation. That's why I have my stop where it is, because if we don't have that higher low, higher high, well, then what am I in the trade for, right? I'm taking it long. I'm looking to follow the trend rather than try to establish the trend. Again, we are market observers, not market movers. At least I am. I don't know about you guys and what kind of amount of money you guys are packing there in that account, but I don't got that much money. So keeping my eyes on these ones. Joseph, what do you have trading on your side of the desk there?
Yeah, same thing. Waiting for some indecision around the Qs. Sitting in this TSLA short still, guys. Slowly starting to curl back over. Maybe we'll cover a little bit more just in case we break through some of these these resistance levels, and then want to pull back towards the VWAP. So we'll take some more off right here, guys, just to be cautious, lock in something. But I do think there might be an additional leg down, especially if the Qs and the SPY want to break the volume weighted average price. Really important. But one thing we do have to note here, you guys, is that NVDA is starting to put up some indecision. So Gorev, Pathik, you guys in the chat, what do you think about this indecision right here on NVDA, right at the volume weighted average price? Really nice candle. So we have definitive risk here. So if you played the break of that candle to the top side, you're already about $1 in the over $1 in the money. So there we go. Missed that one now that I'm looking at it. But then again, you're only, what is this? So you're risking about 30, 50 cents on this trade. So looking for that pullback, nice strong drive. It was choppy, and I had a lot of conviction within this setup that we were going to trade higher today at some point because we gapped down, and I'm like, this thing is really weak. At some point, we'll get a cover rally. But this opening first hour was a mess. You had to be really patient, either grab the bottom of the range or wait until you punch through with some momentum. As you can see, that volume on the 5-minute time frame really starts to pick up its steam. And here you go, you get this engulfing candle, engulfing this whole range here essentially, and then that's when you get the ascent to the top side and continue to move higher and higher. Gaurav, I would wait for the break and close above the downtrend before taking long there. Yeah, there you go, valid point, Gaurav. You know what you're doing, man. Not going to question your analysis at all because I feel like we see a lot of the same things, but that's one indecision print right at VWAP that I would definitely be keeping my eye on. Too late now. I think that ship has sailed, but if the market does decide that it wants to recover, we will be able to notice that. And if SPY and the Qs are like, okay, we don't want to go any lower on this session considering we gapped down right at 430, then at the break of 520 and that momentum and volume steps in, that could be an additional long there for a second leg to the top side, and then we can start to fill in some of that gap. Let's take a look at it right now and see what I'm talking about. So, yeah, so here we go. Oh, okay, so we already filled the majority of that gap, and look at that, Sharif. That's almost pinpoint accuracy right there. So as we gap down, now rejecting that, so running into some key resistance levels, maybe a pullback, some liquidity, the nice hold of the Qs, and then maybe that momentum steps in, and then that's where we can break, and then maybe recover some of Friday's losses. But as of right now, guys, let me know what you are in the chat, a bull flag in NVIDIA at VWAP, if you feel that's the case. We were just talking about that, so I'm not going to go over that again. But yeah, let me know in the chat what you guys are looking at. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and Company to see what's going on with Google, my guy. He's reloaded. Okay, so there you go, 202.30s, Google. Katina, man, he's long there, so good reload. One of the stronger sectors is XLC, so Meta and Google continuing to trade somewhat higher. Meta's closer to the high of day than Google is, but again, nice bounce off of VWAP. He's in a nice spot. Congratulations to him. We'll hit the bang for him on that one. But here we go with BTC, guys. This is a 5-minute time frame. Starting to really approach that $99,000. Right now, boom, we just hit 99K right now. I have a bet with Sharif. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but 100K or not. And we'll see if that comes today on Bitcoin.
So hold on, we didn't clarify the details of the bet. I'm talking a wick, Joseph.
Right,
if we get a cent.
A cent. What? 100,000 cents.
Yes. No, I meant like the cent, like the actual olfactory scent of get it, Adira. Of 100,000, I win the bet. No, I'm kidding, of course, Joseph. All right, guys, we're doing well here on IVVD. In at 78, scalp up into 84. It is technically, though, still a lower high, right? So we've got the higher low and the hold of the 10 exponential. That's the good side of the equation. The bad side of the equation is we're below that 89 pennies, and we've been having this 84 penny area reject over and over and over. And it's not a novel area that we started rejecting off, right? We rejected over here at 1229. We rejected again at 42, and now we're rejecting at 10 to 1, that is, okay? So got to be on the lookout for that 84 penny area. Why it's rejecting there, I really don't have any idea, kind of a random area, but we've de-risked a little bit over here. And now what I'm looking for is a top break through 88. So my out over here is at 88 pennies to front run the high of the day, which is at 89 pennies. But anything below 70 pennies, we're gonna get out. Something's going on, says the Katina man.
Selling, man. Maximum selling coming in.
Maximum selling coming in right now. Adara's at the big desk, guys.
Just saw here some comments from Trump saying that nobody is out of tariffs. I think that's what's moving this down. So to be clear, this isn't actually really contradict with anything was said earlier. It's not like Claudia Sheinbaum, president of Mexico, said they were out of tariffs, just said that they were going to be happening a little bit later here. They did have that 1 month delay as confirmed by Trump, but basically saying here that no one is out of tariffs. So I guess any country could be on watch here with that. Also, Trump made some comments about Elon Musk, so maybe keep an eye here on Tesla, saying that he will not allow Elon to go places where there is a conflict. So keep an eye on that, I guess, with regards to Elon's travel. It also said that Trump said also that Elon will be doing things when he gives him approval to do so. So that is some updates here with regards to Elon, which we know his relationship here has been on watch. Keep an eye on TSLA for that. Regardless, though, I think one of the biggest things here is Trump saying that nobody is out of these tariffs, guys. Back to you.
Remember that commercial, Joseph? You know what I'm going to say?
No.
Nobody.
What was going on? That was two brothers who ran that, wasn't it? And they were doing
I think it was the dad and the son, right?
dad
Mel
and the
Last
son,
and
yeah.
And if you're from Toronto, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or from Canada, I think maybe even in general, Bad Boys. Adara, did they have Bad Boy Furniture Store in Winnipeg? No, they didn't. So you got to be a Toronto person. We're going back to Adara, though. So
back to
maybe she can tell us.
Even more here with regards to tariffs. Trump saying that he had a good talk with Trudeau. So keep an eye on the CAD to USD here. But he also said that the U.S. is not being treated well by Canada. So there's still a lot here on watch with regards to tariffs, of course. As we hear anything, I will keep you all apprised. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Yeah, guys, I mean, we really did mean it when we meant market volatility is going to be crazy.
I was laughing. I'm laughing too. I'm like, this is
Yeah, I mean, like, come on, bro. The personal account's getting slapped today. If you can't laugh and be happy and just like when you need to be, well, then you're definitely not. Definitely not in the market.
You know those memes where it's like the world around you is on fire, but you're just like in a good mood.
Yeah, whatever, bro, whatever.
Everything's crashing
I see
down.
bigger picture stuff.
You just keep smiling.
Guys, we took out some there on CYCN. I don't know why this popped up through 85s. We got the print there at 85.5, so better than I was actually looking for there. Now we're looking for 88s, but it's right back down to 80. It's still got the higher low situation going on that's keeping me involved, keeping me optimistic about the trade. Every successive low since we touched the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 on IVVD has been higher than its predecessor. However, we are definitely having trouble with that 84, 85 penny area. So I am looking to scalp on the way up. CYCN defended 70 yet again. So there is a buyer of note. That's a double bottom right now. In fact, more than a double bottom. I'm seeing triple bottom right now at 70 pennies as we move right back into 90. So the best area that we had was 504s. I'm layering into this one into 515. CYCN, it's up 25% on the day. It's not the biggest mover, but it has been putting in predictable areas to pick it up off. Again, I keep saying the 70 penny area, and you can already see that that was an important level. Back into 90 once we go. We're long at 78s. Let's see if we can clear 5. Adara, though, has more news for us at the big desk.
It's tariff related. We have more comments here coming in from Donald Trump. I'm still trying to find here where he is speaking, but I'm seeing these comments populating. He's saying that he, quote, wouldn't mind making our cars in the United States. So keep an eye on GM and give these companies that currently do have some parts coming from places like Mexico. Also, speaking of Mexico, Trump did say that they will have, quote, a big negotiation with Mexico. China got a mention as well, saying that they're likely to speak to China over the next 24 hours, probably. So possibly here in the next 24 hours, we'll have comments with regards to China. Donald Trump talking to officials in China. We'll take a look at the FXI. With that in mind, yeah, this got a little bit of a volume push to the downside on that most recent 3-minute candle. Also, yeah, just some more comments here about China, but really the only trade-related comments just having to do with these conversations about tariffs, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, so Adara's point is very well taken when she basically says that Donald Trump said nobody's
exempt.
Yeah, exempt from tariffs. Because he started threatening Europe today.
Did he?
I don't know if it was today specifically that he started threatening them, but he's levying threats against them. And he's like, look, y'all could be on the receiving end of some slappers as well. Yes. I'm just not slapping Canada and Mexico and China. I'll slap you guys as well.
Everybody.
I'll throw a tariff your way.
Everybody
you know what
can
I mean?
get it.
Yeah, anybody can get it, right? Like, that's the thing.
Everybody.
No, seriously, though, we joke, but Europe is a monster for vehicle exports. And Americans gulp up foreigns like you wouldn't believe. Rappers love rapping about foreigns, and Americans love buying foreigns, right? Get it, Adara.
Get it.
Appreciate you. No, seriously, though, I mean, BMW, Mercedes, a lot of them, they manufacture cars in the States, but a lot of them are not made. I think, personally, my car isn't made in North America. It would, if it was entering the States, it would definitely be subject to a tariff. I know a lot of BMWs and Mercedes, Audis, they're made in Germany as well. So that's a tougher look for some of these manufacturers, right? Especially when you're trying to plan, Joseph, 2, 3, 4 years down the road. It's hard to do that with Donald Trump threatening everybody with tariffs every 5 minutes. No, I joke about this, but like I'm serious. I mean, it's really hard for them to gauge. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on those. Obviously, those names are not traded. Well, we don't trade them. They trade, I think, on the OTC exchange. Shout out to Jeff Mendel. Toyota, obviously, Stellantis, some European, or not, Toyota's not, obviously. Stellantis, I believe, trades on STLA. It's on the North American Exchange. TM, Toyota Motors. So Japan is not exempt either. They build tons of cars in Japan. We kind of already know that. So so many variables right now. So many variables. And I'm not going to say that I dislike this market, because this market's given us volatility. So it's just really how we trade it. And, how we execute, I think, really what it comes down to right now. All right, Joseph, here we go with CYCN. Oh. It's taken out 5 yet again, but below still my beak wetter. They're at 0.6s, showing me 0.2s now on the ask, and the spread's tightening up. So we were almost stopped out of this one. Now I'm really lamenting here not having added once I saw that 70 penny defend. It's a triple, quadruple, whatever, double bottom, depending really what time frame you're looking at $4.70 on CYCN. It is having trouble with 5, as I've mentioned, which is why I've got these resting orders to take advantage of a quick move in the direction of the trend. We'll have to see. Here we go, showing me 05s. Just 1 sec. We'll send it to Adara in 1 second. I'm just waiting to see if we can get that print at 05s. Not forthcoming quite yet, but as I see it, there we go. Now we're 07s now, so I should be crossing here if we can just pop up a little bit. Brah. Come on, so we're not going to get that print. How about this one over here? So IVVD, both heading up. CYCN, IVVD, looking to move up into the high of the day, guys, but we'll send it to Adara at the big desk for now.
We have some more comments coming from Donald Trump with regards to tariffs. So now more specifically here about China. That's why I have FXI up. As you can see here, got a pretty sharp push to the downside with a bit of volume on this 3-minute chart. Now we're continuing to push lower. Basically, Trump has said here that the China tariffs will go up if they can't make a deal. And the tariffs that they have right now for China were, quote, an opening salvo. Basically threatening further tariffs here for the country of China. Keep an eye on FXI. PDD, we know, is going to get hit particularly hard here by that de minimis rule being revoked. Also keep an eye on Alibaba, any of these Chinese-related tickers, because this is going to be on watch here. Sounds like these China trade talks and tariffs are really only just the beginning. While we're here, we'll do a really quick look here at Bitcoin for our afternoon crypto segment, because we have a second to do that. This is the 15-minute chart here. Yeah, as Shreve said, this 100 is actually not impossible, but we're kind of hanging out a pretty interesting area of resistance going back to Sunday, going back to yesterday. So we had this double top here around that 99.4 area. Then we pushed downside, of course, lower. The low of the day was below 92,000. But right now, we are on the precipice of breaking the previous resistance level from yesterday at the 99.4. So I think that would be a pretty key level. One level that, interestingly enough, seemed to serve as support and was a little bit of resistance yesterday was that 98.3, 98.5 level. So we have about a 1,000 point range as of right now for BTC. Let's see if it's able to break above and get to that 100,000 level that we all want to see again. Let's see if Joe or Sharif is right about that bet. Back to the guys.
Appreciate you. All right. I got to cover this, bro. Swoldemort. Dude, you're killing me.
All right, let's go, Swoldemort.
$5 super chat. He gets the Canadian flag, obviously. Sharif drives the Ems Frizzle school bus. I saw him cruising this weekend. I had no idea it was a foreign build. Dude, you're killing me. I don't even know what the hell that is, dude.
It's Frizzle? Come on, Magic School Bus.
Bro, I'm 100. You keep forgetting that I'm 100, right? Like, I don't know what this is. We've got access to the internet, though, Joseph. So it's a quick search away. Here we go. Let's show him the screen, Andre. I did know about this one.
Miss Frizz.
Look, bro, I don't mind this school bus, Joseph.
I like her hair there.
Yeah. She's got good hair.
Yeah.
Good for her. Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, this looks like one pimped out school bus. They got magnets on there. They got light bulbs, stars even on there, Joseph. I could see myself picking up my friends in that, heading down to the club.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just joking, dude. That was what we wanted to do in high school, though. We wanted a van so we could load all the degenerate friends that we had into the van, hit the club.
There we go.
And then, you know, obviously act a fool.
That's what party buses are for, man. You get the party bus.
Yeah, that was before party bus. I told you, bro. I'm 100.
Really? They didn't have those back then?
Well, they had limos. They had party limos. But the party buses were still a novel thing. Adair's at the big desk, though.
We have more coming on here with tariffs. And actually, this time it's not from Donald Trump. It's actually from China itself here. China's UN envoy said basically in violation of the World Trade Organization rules, China will actually be filing a complaint here, and also saying here that Beijing might actually be forced to take countermeasures against the U.S. So similar to what we were hearing coming out of Canada this weekend from Justin Trudeau, China's envoy basically saying that Beijing could be taking countermeasures against the U.S. And at the same time, Fed's Bostic, who's been speaking for the last almost 40 minutes now, making some more comments on tariffs, saying that they're going to have to, quote, just watch, because it's been pretty clear that the Fed all agree there will be some impact on tariffs with regards to inflation and the rates, but they're unclear as to what the impact will be because they haven't really seen it all play out yet. So keep an eye here on Chinese ADRs, really any ADRs, auto stocks, and anything that could be impacted by tariffs. I will continue to give you guys the news as soon as I see it. Back to you.
Really appreciate that. Adara, obviously, she's keeping her eye out there. Here we go. IVVD taking out the high. So I just wet my beak there at 88s. Now it's showing me 90. Whoa, baby.
Whoa.
It just popped up into 98s, bro. No idea what's going on there. Obviously, I didn't have an order waiting at around 98s. Let's throw that out there now. We're going to throw it at 96s, see if we can catch maybe another liquidity grab to the high side. Good move here for IVVD. Adara is the one that called this one out earlier. It is 162% now, Adara, looking to take out that dollar level. We know these dollar levels are areas of key areas, of resistance for these small cap gappers. Let's see if we can take that level out. Good look right now on this name. Pleased as dang punch, as somebody at the big desk always used to say. Now, I'm also involved in this monster right here. We're going to tell you more about this CYCN once we're done our midday cameo from your boy himself. Get it, Katina, man.
This message is about 5 seconds long. Get it, Sharif.
Hey, you killed me, bro. I thought you had something ready for us. We're gonna talk about some trades. He got the mic ready.
This guy knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
Man. How is
I appreciate you.
How was the
Katina,
gym,
man,
my
brother.
guy? Was it good or what? Laps? Nah, that's all right. It's a little light something, you know, and that's all right. Hey, keep it on the DL. That's it, man. We can...
All right, we gotta go back to Adair.
We're going to go back to Adair, but we got the Playmaker poll. Don't forget.
Yes, sir.
Come back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I apologize, guys, for the interruption. I feel like this is going to probably be the case because we have so much news going on. I have crypto up here right now. More comments from Fed's Bostic saying that crypto has grown, but it's still a small portion of the financial system, and it's not clear what it might substitute for. We know that we also had comments on crypto from Fed's Powell, so now it looks like you actually have to be watching crypto here during these Fed speeches as well. So with that in mind, keep an eye on FXI in China once again because we have more comments from Donald Trump with regards to China's tariffs. Basically, he said here that if they cannot make a deal with China, tariffs will be substantial. So if there's no deal with China with regards to tariffs, those tariffs will be substantial. He earlier said that he's likely to call China within the next 24 hours, probably, quote unquote. So we'll have to wait and see if that call does come and what those negotiations do bring about. But as mentioned earlier, China's UN envoy already said that they're going to be kind of trying to retaliate if this comes to pass. So lots of uncertainties here. As I see anything, I will forward it to you all.
Buddha, bro done did some shots. You're killing me. I promise you, we are not drinking, okay? Katina Man's not drinking. I'm not drinking. I know Joseph isn't drinking either. We're in a good mood, man. I mean, like, it is what it is. Yeah, we're out here. We're putting on some trades. The personal account, I can't speak for Joseph, is awfully red. So if you're not gonna laugh and some relief humor, then you're just gonna be uptight.
Yeah, you're gonna be miserable.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. So
what
was that, Andre? Yes, don't forget to like and subscribe. There it is right there. It's definitely not 390,000. Try more like 499,000. We're almost at that 500,000. And guys, you know, if we can get that $500,000, you have no idea how much it helps the algorithm. We're going to do an entire celebration up in here, etc. Like there's a lot of stuff planned. So we're very excited to hit that $500,000. I can't tell you, we've been working real hard. Obviously, every day we're putting in work for you guys. I mean, it's not for us, obviously. So we're always throwing back into the show.
Maybe we'd be drinking when we hit a $500,000. We could get
yeah, I could be absolutely persuaded to drink. I rarely ever drink, rarely, and I really do mean that. The last time I even had a sip of alcohol was when Raider was here. I was telling you off camera. Shout out to Raider Trader. We took him out. We had a great steak dinner. I had a couple of glasses of wine. I feel that was like in November. When was Raider here? November?
Maybe.
Feels like Raider was here in November, right?
Oh, Halloween, because he dressed up for Halloween.
Thank you. So October. That's the last time any alcohol touched my lips, bro. I mean, I just barely drink anymore. That's the situation.
That's it. But we got the Playmaker poll. First, we're going to touch on Sharif said, you said, yeah, first of all, let's start here. Sharif's like, Joe, man, stop asking me where you think Bitcoin is going.
Telling
this morning, he goes, Joe, do you think Bitcoin's going to hit 100K? I said no, but he got that one right, guys. We tapped up to about 100,400 on Bitcoin, but it is time for the Playmaker, Sharif. Let's start to document what we got going on. All-time highs on the poll here, guys. So last week we did get stopped out, but here's the equity curve sitting around that all-time high, guys. Fantastic work, but let's get those numbers punched in.
Yes, sir. Oh, sorry, my bad. I was reading the chat. I was not ready there. I apologize. Let's have a look at the SPY. Here we go. 597.25.
597.25.
So we're taking it out at 596.25 for the stop.
For the stop.
For the stop, we're going 596.25, and then we're taking everything out. We're taking it out at the high of the day, 599.25. That is currently the high of the day. So we'll if we wet our beak here, it will be at the high of the day. Okay. We'll get back to that because we do have to send it to Adara with more breaking news.
Doing more breaking news, though this time is actually not tariff related. It's related to RCAT. This is Red Cat Holdings. This company has partnered with Palantir. They've run in the past on that. They're getting a little bit of a volume spike now here, saying that they're going to be hosting their Investor and Analyst Day at the NASDAQ market site on February 27th. And this is notable because the event is going to include the company's CEO, Jeff Thompson, but it's also going to be including Robert Imig of Palantir. So the RCAT, RCAT going to be on watch here because Palantir employees will be appearing at this event. They have been involved in a strategic partnership. And there's Palantir earnings tonight, so RCAT, absolutely one to watch, guys. Back to you.
Great call out, Adara. Thank you for that.
Get my eyes
Go
on
ahead.
this thing here. Yeah, I know we got something to cover. I got to pull up RCAT here real quick. That's NQ, right? RCAT?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
perfect.
sir.
Cool.
Yep.
We got that on the go. I know Sharif saying something about MSTU.
Why?
Was it
MSTY?
MSTY?
One more up. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, please give thoughts on MSTY high yield ETF. Sure, let me pull this thing up here for you. Let's see what we got going on. MSTY. MSTY.
Go, RCAT.
So the fund seeks to have current income, and the second objective is to seek exposure to the share price of MicroStrategy. Okay, we like this one here. Subject to a limit of potential gains, the fund is actively managed ETF that uses synthetic covered call strategy to provide income and indirect exposure to the share price. Very, very interesting. So I'm familiar with some of these where they use covered calls and the yields off of those. So let's pull this up here on the chart and see what we got going on. Yield max option strategy, MSTY. Well, I mean, hey, selling covered calls. Okay, so this is how we kind of have to think about it in my eyes, because I've never traded a vehicle like this before. So let's see what's going on here. It seem like it's correlated with MSTR, which would make sense. And it's rebounding on the day, so I'm not overly familiar with this specific vehicle. All right, so it uses synthetic covered call strategy to provide income and indirect exposure to the share price. Okay, so that's interesting. What I thought would maybe be somewhat of an inverse correlation on this, but it doesn't seem to be the case on MSTY yield max. So what I was thinking here is what would happen is at the peak of it, if you're selling covered calls against the position, that it would appreciate, but then sure enough, covered calls won't cover the depreciation that has been through. So here we go on MSTY. As of right now, it looks not too horrible. Let's pull up the actual underlying asset. It is sitting around some key support levels as well too. So really mimicking this, okay, it makes sense. If you want that exposure in MSTY, then by all means, it seems to not be too horrible. But again, MicroStrategy, a little bit too expensive for my liking. And MSTY, a vehicle I'm not overly familiar with, nor do I have any background in trading these yield type vehicles, all right? So the fund is actually managed ETF that synthetically covered call strategy to provide income. Yeah, I'm not opposed to an indirect exposure to the share price. So yeah, a vehicle I'm not familiar trading, nor have I traded them before, but interesting. Have you ever traded a yield vehicle like this?
Never,
before?
man.
No, exactly.
Never.
So
No.
again, it looks like it's tracing. It seems significantly cheaper. So if that's working on from a covered call strategy, then by all means, take a little dive into it. If you're looking to allocate some shares, don't go all in at once. Break it up into multiple entries, and then take it from there and start building yourself a sample.
Well said, man.
Yeah.
All right, here's the deal. We took our cap breakout. We took it all the way up into 90 high day, then got stopped out for the remaining amount, 8 penny loser. It's given it back. So our cat 880 is the closing print, 890 is the high of the day. That's as good as we could do on that. So we'll actually be exactly, literally flat on it. So exactly what I made, I gave back over here. So flat trade on RCAT. If this wants to take out 890, 880 is technically the closing print. If it trades above there, not wicks above there, definitely going to get back involved in that one. Now, here's the deal. IVVD gave me that nice move up into 96 pennies, excuse me. I was waiting at 97. It didn't cross. In fact, it got into 97. What am I saying? It got into 97. It didn't cross, and I didn't get printed. But we're going to keep an eye out on this one. It's still very respectful of the 10 exponential moving average. I've moved up my stop now from the breach of 70 to account for this area resistance over here. I've moved it up to break even. So we're long at 77s, excuse me. So if we breach 77, we come down into 77, that's the end of my trade on that one. I've only got a couple of more out. So it's going to either give me 97s and then continue on its merry way to 100, or I'm gone. I am optimistic about this trade. Now we're printing 90s here. The reason I am optimistic is because we get those higher lows. But what keeps me pessimistic is our proximity to the dollar. Okay, we've talked a lot about this. It's a different trade north and south of a dollar. But by that, I mean above a dollar and below a dollar. It's a different trade for many reasons. So given that we got into 98 pennies and that, you know, the proximity to a dollar, maybe that's where we reject. So I am kind of concerned about that. CYCN is the other trade I'm involved in. This one also, I'm having trouble today getting printed for whatever reason. This one I have a level at 507s. It wicks into 507s several times, doesn't print. But again, this one is the same reason. I'm in CYCN for the same reason I'm in IVVD. I'm still getting higher lows with CYCN. So even though it pulls back at times and it's had a lot of trouble printing that 507 order that I've had on for however long, it's still giving me higher lows on every little descent there. Now, a better trader would be adding on those higher lows. I'm not that good of a trader, so you're just going to have to deal with me with the position that I've got on right now. But you're getting incrementally higher lows on every little attempt right now on CYCN. OKLO, another bad boy we were involved in, wants to take out day's high. We had a good trade on this one, and then we got forced out because it took down that 43.50. My observation until that time had been that 43.50 was support. It breaches, it goes to the 50, and then quick as you like, it defends 43.50. So, you know, you get wicked out when you have hard stops, obviously. Maybe when you should be involved in the trade, but I submit to you the amount of money that I've probably saved by having hard stops exceeds the amount of money that I've lost by being wicked out of trades like that. And it's just good risk management strategies to be able to do this, because you don't know when the bad trade is going to come in and how much you're going to lose, especially with areas of illiquidity. So that's the look right now. So IVVD continuing on its merry way, back above 90. I'm waiting at the lofty price of 97. As I mentioned, that's the front run, the $1 area, but we're having trouble with 90s. All right, CYCN right back into $5 or so I see on the side chart. But here's the deal with CYCN. So I wax poetic, to use an Adair term, about about the higher lows. Here we go, bro. Give me the print, man. You're showing me 6s on the ask, and you're showing me 5s on the bid. How am I not getting? Now I've got 7s. Finally, oh my goodness. There we go. We get the print. Now I'm waiting at 11s. Let's see if we can continue to move up. So I've got 11s layered. Then I got 15s layered. So this is a higher high. So I was just about to make the argument that we got higher lows, but we were also getting lower highs. That has now changed because I took out this print, but we're only wicking above the level. We still haven't closed above that level. So let's see if we continue moving up here. We get a breach of 510. CYCN, good look on the day. Bish Wajit. Hope I didn't butcher your name, brother. Hi, guys. Sharif, please tell about FTAI. Sure. What a very polite individual. FTAI. Let's load up this bad boy. I don't know what it is. FTI Aviation. What does this company do? Let's find out. What the hell? It's a $110 stock, $12 billion market cap. What'd you say, Andre? I apologize.
Ad read, yes,
Ad read. Okay.
Ad read.
We'll get back from Joseph paying some bills, and we'll cover that in a second.
Hey, Worksport guys, introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ, Worksport, ticker WKSP. Worksport is a U.S.-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, Worksport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP, discover the future of clean energy with Worksport. There it is, guys. Get your tonneau covers there with Worksport. Scan the QR code, and the link is in the description. Sharif, before I send it back off to you, there's a couple of interesting facts here on what we just went over on MSTY. So what it is, it's a high yield. It's a yield max. So what it offers is really high yield. And I went and I looked at it, and it's like 100%, 110% dividend. So what you do is you reinvest that dividend into shares or something along those lines to navigate the to minimize the NAV on that. So reading from what everybody else in the chat says, and AMD has one as well too. And guys, let me know if those yield maxes are similar to the BITO, which is the Bitcoin futures, but it also offers a high yield as well too, guys. So let me know on that front. But we're gonna send it off to Adair real quick.
We've got some news here a little bit. Keep an eye on FXI still, of course. It's going to be a China-related ETF. We have more comments from China's United Nations envoy. We know the United Nations envoy basically warned that Beijing could potentially retaliate here on these tariff concerns, but also saying that basically, A, there needs to be an end to these knee-jerk reactions, but specifically, instead of tariffs, more with regards to these app bans. Apparently, the envoy mentioned TikTok, Huawei, and DeepSeek-related concerns, asking, and I quote, how many more do you want to ban? So China's UN envoy kind of getting a little bit, I guess, out here about with regards to these app bans. And before we send you back to the Bash Brothers, I want to show you guys our brand new Trader TV research infographic. We have our man Alex Karp in the corner here. This is about Palantir's earnings. So we've got that Palantir green in the background. This is pretty impressive revenue growth. It looks like we really have year-over-year increases for revenue every single year. They did report their first ever quarterly profit here for Q4 2022. And this is every report the company's ever given us, starting in Q3 2020 and ending in Q3 2024. So if you want to take a look at that ahead of their earnings tonight, check that out on X at TTV Research, and check out the report with Neil and myself tonight. I believe they're supposed to report around 4:05 on our market recap show. Make sure to like and subscribe. To you.
I mean, it's a fantastic infographic. Yeah. My only thing there, I think the hair should be taking up way more of the infographic.
More
like it should fall. It should be out of the picture.
It should be out.
Well, because that's how it would be in real life, Joseph. Just joking, Adara.
Yeah. I remember when I first seen, I was on YouTube, and Alex Karp had a commercial, and he's like, yeah, an ad anyways, and it's like, yeah, people are going to want what we have, and we're going to charge them a lot of money for it. And I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this Alex Karp guy?
He doesn't mince words.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't care. And then sure enough, he's one of the CEO of one of the hottest stocks in the NASDAQ.
Absolutely.
So.
All right, guys, we are done our trade on CYCN flat top break. Look at this thing squeeze into 535. We got the print. We're done the trade. I'm happy with this one. I think I executed well on it. The only thing that I could really say that I should have done better on, number one, I should have been adding again on that 70 wick because it had shown you multiple times that there was a buyer at 70. Once, twice, OB thrice. How many times do I need to see that there was a buyer at 70? So that was my first mistake on CYCN. My second mistake was not adding on the higher lows. Once it put in that 505 top, and I knew that there was a seller at 505, look what it did. It put in a higher low at 485. I should have been adding there, especially once it breached and closed above there on the 5. So those are my two mistakes that I think I made on CYCN that I, aspire to improve on. It's not about the execution into the entry, but it's the management of the trade while I was in it. I will do better, hopefully, next time. Now, FTAI. Well, let's that Bishwajit guy in the chat wants to know about it. So a couple of things first and foremost. Adara let me know that this one was the subject of a bit of a hit piece. So they got slapped by a short report from Muddy Waters last month. Thank you, Adair. Entitlement issues with respect to our trading it here. So FTAI Aviation owns and maintains commercial jet engines with a focus on the CFM 856 and the V2500 engines. Its segment include aviation leasing as well as aerospace products. They are a $12 billion market cap. I don't know personally anything about them. I'm not going to try to pretend like I have any sort of a fundamental understanding of their business model. This is a hell of a great looking chart though. This is the daily on FTAI. I'm assuming that this was the day the hit piece came out back on the 13th of January and then all hell broke loose and this thing went from $180 to $75. It's back above $100 right now, but any viewer of the show for a prolonged period will know the blue is the 200 on my chart, the 200 exponential, and the red is the 50. It's a little bit below the 200, Neil. In fact, the 200 exponential is at around 117 and change. We're still below that right now. My submission to you guys would, this one breaks out, in my humble opinion, not above the the 200 exponential, but above this 125 area here. Look at this area hold up, an area, what I would call an area trough, where it defended that $125 level. I think we probably encounter resistance on FTAI on our merry way into 125. So if we do clear that, this could be a nice reversion or a recovery trade. It's already up almost 9% today. And since it touched that $75 area, we're above 100. So good look right now. FTAI, great call out by Bishwajit. I've been meaning to make an airline producer, like to throw in Spirit Aerosystems, Boeing, Airbus, Embraer, all the different companies that service these airplanes. I have an airlines watch list, but I don't have an airline or an airplane manufacturer's watch list. Definitely this one would make the cut. So FTAI, good look right there. Thanks, Bishwajit, for calling that out. Jay Lee, Sharif, a week ago, Oklo was under $30. Did you manage to get in, or did you manage to get any in your long-term account then? I'm kicking myself for missing that. Brother, I did not. And I've been yapping about wanting to get in on this energy trade, especially the nuclear one. And I've been saying that for a long time, and I've done nothing about it. So I'm quite disappointed in myself for not having gotten in. Obviously, we'll keep an eye out, maybe for some pullbacks if we already haven't suffered them there on the nuclear names. All right, let's talk a little bit about this one. I'm still holding some here on IVVD. I'm waiting at that 20 penny area for the 20 penny winner on this 90 penny name. I'm waiting at 97s. I'm long 77s. I've wet my beak the last time over here at 87. I still have one more out on this bad boy. So this is going to be my last print up here at 97, if we get 97s. It's a good look right now, though. It's very much bull flagging above the 10 exponential moving average. I'm talking about IVVD. And you had what I perceive to be an initial bull flag up here. You give back about 2/3 of the move, and then you have the initiation of a bigger bull flag, one with more liquidity and one with increasing volume. So I do like this look very much What I don't like right now is the lack of continuity for the second bull flag. And that makes sense because, as I've stressed multiple times, it is a different trade north and south of $1. And this 98 penny area, well, that's awfully close to the dollar. So realistically, this could be the top of the trade. Oh, we just broke aggressively down below the 10 exponential. Wow. We moved from 95 to 82 in the time that it took us to move like 30 pennies. So that was a bit of an aggressive down move right now on IVVD. Let's see, maybe we should be adding here on this move. I don't think that that's the right idea. Yeah, this one's really selling off, so good thing I'm not adding. Adair's at the big desk.
I have GOGL up here. I mean, to be fair, they've been on watch here ahead of their earnings tomorrow after the close, but also on their blog, the company announced that Google Cloud customers can now purchase some professional services from their partner ecosystem through its cloud marketplace. So Google Cloud Marketplace, I guess, a new innovation there. So keep an eye on GOOGL. Also, we have comments here coming from the head of the largest North American aerospace union, just basically urging U.S. to pause tariffs on Canada. Again, we don't really have any notice on this, as this is not a huge player here, but keep an eye on some of these aerospace-related names here. The head of the largest North American aerospace union is urging the U.S. to pause with these tariffs on Canada, guys. Back to you.
Good look there, Joseph. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm just going over a couple of things and seeing what we got going on for earnings this week, guys. We know that Tuesday evening, we got AMD, Google, Snapchat, which is entertaining, which is going to be good and stuff. But tomorrow morning we have PayPal, Spot, and Pepsi. And one thing I was just looking at was Pepsi, because it has been really, really getting beaten up lately. And I was going to ask Sharif here as well as, like, why do you think that is? And could it be because of this Manjaro and there's some Ozempic, right? So you're not getting any, too many people buying some of these, I don't know how to phrase it, these retail, like these Pepsi products and chips and et cetera. And you can see that kind of reflected in the Pepsi stock price right now. So we got that coming up tomorrow morning. I think that's going to be an interesting report. I know Kramer's always talking about GLP-1, which is obviously Ozempic, et cetera, and the Manjaro. So I'm just curious to see what he thinks about that and how it's reflecting in Pepsi's stock price. But then we also got Spotify as well too, guys. And with that, I wanted to look at the expected move, which is pricing in about a 10% expected move here on Spotify on the report. So a little out of my price range, around $551. So that can put it at a high of around $606 or a low of around $495, which I found really, really interesting. So those are the things that I want to keep an eye on, as well as PayPal. Guys, let's take a look at what PayPal might be, the options market might be pricing in on PayPal. And see what kind of expected move we are looking for on that one. Implied volatility. Here we go. So yeah, about 7.7% on PayPal, guys. And also let me know what you guys think about PepsiCo and kind of Ozempic, et cetera. With and there you go. So people are already chiming in on that here. Officially same with Hershey, man. Officially unburdened. Yeah. So I mean, Ozempic having a factor on some of these stocks here, which is really, really interesting. Let's hear them for earnings play. And yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking about me. Ignace, I've done some clinical trials for those. So that's beautiful. That's cool, the beautiful ones. Very interesting on that front. So yeah, I want to hear some more from you guys on what you guys, on especially my American friends here, on what you guys think about Ozempic and how it's affecting some stock prices like Hershey's and Pepsi as well too. So that's really interesting and looking forward to hearing from you guys. We also have PayPal, as I mentioned, so some fintech there, guys. Which PayPal has been frustrating me lately. I've been trying to cancel a subscription, but it's saying that I don't have it on my PayPal, but PayPal every month takes it out, so it's like, oh, what's going on there? So we got to figure that one. There's got to be a lot of
what's the PayPal subscription?
PayPal sub? Oh, no, like a payment that I have, a payment that comes from PayPal, right?
Gotcha.
But then when I go on the PayPal website, it shows you what is coming out of your account, but it's not displaying one of these. So every month it just keeps taking money out of my account because I haven't done my due diligence and called and said, hey, cancel the sub, but that's okay. But what I was referring to, Sharif, and I think you're more familiar with this, is the GLP-1.
Yeah, Neil's Bitcoin's coming to that 100.
It was there already. But what I was talking about was Pepsi and Ozempic and such. So, and just how Ozempic may have hindered Pepsi's stock price. over the previous duration, over the past little while. So let's keep that in mind. Apple climbing towards 228 as well. Let's see what Apple is up to on that front. But I'm in some RCAT, to be honest with you, Sharif. Not too much in the money right now, but caught that pullback here, which is really nice. Let's see if we can go and test that high day. We broke out on some volume, so that's interesting as well too. Let's see if we can continue to climb higher, and then maybe we can tap into that $9 price target. But again, I would love to see a lot more volume and momentum step in here.
Ozempic.
Yeah.
Na, 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 na. Guys, new traders, listen up. Oh, my bad.
Oh, no,
okay, so don't listen yet. Wait a little bit, then listen.
Wait a little bit.
All right, we got some bills to pay in 2 and 1 new traders. Listen up. First month, it's free. That's right, we're waiving fees. You get to trade smarter, not harder, by upgrading to that elite trading experience. You'll analyze, you'll strategize, and then hopefully after all that, you'll be able to capitalize. The platform, it's got everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, and it's got game-changing charts. I can vouch for that. Predict with good backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out, guys. Execute your best trades now. If you're ready to elevate your trading, you will scan that QR code on the bottom right of your screen or check the link in the description of the video. Shout out to the great folks there at eSignal. Good luck, guys. Been using that for a hot minute, as you know. The new side charts are all eSignal, and I haven't even really scratched the surface of this platform. They've just got so much stuff. We're talking scanners, watch list, sector city, ETF city as they call it. You got the hot list, Forex watch. I don't know what Zanger volume ratio is, but apparently it's on here, so we'll have to learn what that is. Shout out to the great folks there at eSignal. All right, here's the deal. We're still involved in IVVD. You'll recall that I had 77s, but I got everything out, right? I only had one more beak wetter at 87 that went unfilled, and this bad boy came back down, but lo and behold, it held the 20 and that 80 penny area. So I said to myself, add. You've got such an interesting area of your initial entry is a good area. So add here because you'll risk very little. So I added at 80. I've got 79s. I've only got a couple of outs over here. So if this one breaches 74s, that's where I'm going to end the trade. We'll still be positive on it. So it made sense for me to add at this area. So we'll see if it wants to hold up. I'm talking about IVVD holding up at around 80 pennies. It looks like there is some selling though coming in here, pushing this bad boy back down, but it's up 123%, a little bit more, certainly at the highs. Let's see if it holds up at that area. Now, if this one gives up the ghost, there's probably not that much time for me to trade it again, but there is a very interesting area at 70 pennies. So there is an area resistance, initially area resistance at 70 pennies from around 945 till around 1040. And so that's price action resistance, which could act as support. And then you also have the volume weighted average price right now at 70 pennies. So if it gives up the ghost at my 74 out, definitely looking at 70 to see if it warrants an entry to trade this bad boy again. Right now, zagging with that 80 penny level. I'm talking about IVVD. Now, I don't have any other trades on at the moment, despite the fact that I would like to be still in CYCN, because it's still putting in higher lows and higher highs. We had the best out for myself over here at 517s. It comes back down, breaches 5, but guess what? It's still putting in higher lows and higher highs. So despite the fact that the range per candle is prohibitive, it's quite ugly at times because these are 5-minute candles, so you can kind of get the idea there. 488 below the 5-minute candle and 534. So it's really wide. The range per candle is quite wide. That needs to be factored in your stop placement, in your profit-taking placement, as well as your risk management, the size that you get in, because you have to be able to manage a risk on this. So it's holding 5 for now, and it's also above the 10 exponential. So I'm asking myself why I'm not getting back into this, right? Especially, I can risk 10 pennies at this level and give it to the area low, because if it's going to make higher lows, well, then I already know what the low is there. It's at 491. So I can get in at 504, risk 13 pennies, or wait for a 5 dip, try to pick up 5, and then risk 8 pennies. So this one's interesting right now. I'm talking about CYCN. It's not the biggest mover on the day, certainly. It's up 28.33%. So not a bad look. Not a bad look at all. All right, what are you guys looking at? Throw some tickers there in the chat. I haven't been looking at the chat too much today because we've been involved in these trades. I do apologize. But yeah, let's see what people are talking about there. Los Palos Hermanos, Palantir strong just before earnings report is not a good sign, in my opinion. That's an interesting take. Warren, Trump says positive talk with Mexico president. Yeah, apparently he's putting off those tariffs for another month or so, according to the reports this morning. We'll trade for food, talking to somebody else there. KNT, China would like to leave TikTok as a commercial, and the company does what they want, AP news agency says. I don't know what that means. China would like to leave TikTok as a commercial, and the company does what they want. Okay, I'm not really sure what that means. We'll have a look to see what the TikTok news headline, if any, is. All right, there we go. Now we're getting people chiming in with what they want to see. So let's look at some names we haven't looked at today. Meta. Being called out here by Rob Winter. Let's bring in the Mag 7 charts and have a look at META. Let's bring it in over here. We'll load up that bad boy and we'll choose a Mag 7. Here's the look on Meta. Yeah, Meta is a great look. Look at that, right back above 700, 684. I guess they're not really worried about export restrictions because, well, they make most of their money on digital ads. So we don't really need to worry about that too much. The only thing that I'd say for Meta, obviously, is that they really want to get into the not handset, but devices business. They want to be able to circumvent Apple, not have to go through the App Store so they can create their products and their apps in their own way. So when you create hard goods, obviously, you subject yourself to tariffs and the income or the possibility of having tariffs placed upon your products. That's obviously hasn't been discussed yet with Meta. But you know what I was thinking about the other day?
What's that, brother?
So you know those prototype glasses that he called the Orions,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So what I was thinking about, I'm like, why are they stuffing all the gadgets and the gizmos in the frame themselves? Why don't they just make the frames only capable of overlaying augmented reality and then keep the phone as the device that does all the computing? And then the display wouldn't have to have all that microprocessor and compute. It's a latency issue, says Fabian, but I'm sure that probably could be taken care of, Fabian, with upgrades to Bluetooth technology and other or NFC. I don't know exactly what they would use. Wireless will never surpass wired, says Fabian. I probably don't disagree with you there, brother, but I think we can get it to a manageable, latency or lag issue, right? So that's what I was thinking about there. I'm like, why haven't they pursued that? Especially because I'm thinking of it from an Apple perspective, right? Apple, king of the handsets, this, that, and the other, Joseph, right? Why would they want or try to put the form factor of a brick on your face, especially if they're really behind, which kind of feels like that they are behind Meta. Maybe we don't know because Apple never tips their hand, but let's just assume that they are.
As of right now, we know they are. Yeah.
So why don't they actually have a device that really focuses more on the display rather than focusing on the compute and putting everything in the glasses?
That's a great question.
I'll give you a second to think about that because we have to go to Dare at the Big Desk.
Here from the Customs and Border Protection here in the U.S. with regards to China here and some tariffs saying that formal customs entry will be required for all international mail shipments from China and that Chinese imports eligible for temporary duty exemptions are now going to be subject to an additional 10% U.S. tariffs. So greater crackdown on mail coming from China and additional 10% tariffs for some of these items that were previously exempt. Guys, keep an eye on FXI and I guess Chinese ADRs in general. Back to you.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a tough one there. I can see China probably getting hit with a couple more. Probably. But I want to see what your thoughts are about that.
Does that come to a lack of innovation? Maybe, I don't know. Do you go down that road that we have been for a long time with Apple? Like this essentially the same iPhone, you just get upgrades and an improved camera. I don't know. Do they have the ability? But that's what it is. Is it not? Right?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Every
you're
year,
not wrong.
it's like it's one of the main things on the iPhone is like, okay, the camera's slightly better, but is it that much better? I don't know. So that's the question I truly can't answer on why they don't have something along those lines, and why a company like Meta has the ability to put them within the glasses, but yet you have this whole face shield when it comes to the Vision Pros.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I'm just wondering.
I found something I was reading about over the weekend as well too. Have you heard of WeChat? Have you ever heard of this
course,
app, WeChat? Okay, so you're familiar with WeChat, right?
My boy, I'm not just learning Mandarin for no reason, man.
So that's wicked. So it started out as a chat. Did you know that
It's an all-in-one app.
It's all in one app. And did you know, considering we're talking about Meta, they tried to do something along those lines too.
Your boy Elon too.
Yeah, that's what he's leaning towards. So I found some really interesting things. So Meta came out with this coin called Libra, and then they changed it to DM or something along those lines, right? And that's not at all. But I just found it interesting. But that's what Meta essentially wanted to do. They want to become an all-in-one app where you can have methods of payment off of the app, and that's how you can grab large amounts of data. Is when you start to find out what everybody's paying for and what everybody's buying, you can collect that data, and then you can charge more for advertising.
That's
because
a great point, bro.
You know what everybody wants to buy. So I think that's something that Meta was definitely leaning towards. So
I mean, there's just so many different types of products I think that we're all working into at the moment. I don't know, man. It's just, to me, it seemed like if they couldn't get it right because they couldn't fit all the compute and the batteries and everything like that into the frames, they should kind of offload all the compute and everything onto the phone and just have the glasses as your display, like you would do on a TV. All the compute comes from whatever thing that you've got connected, or some TVs are smart, they have their compute built in. But let's just say a dumb TV and you were to connect Apple TV to it, or Amazon Pro, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All the compute's done off the television. The television is just displaying the graphics there. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
A lot of people chiming in the chat here, though.
I'd like to see what they have to say, man. Let's have a look. WeChat's so good. WeChat's well spoken about, obviously, not in North America. Because we don't have it here. Well, we do. I downloaded it, but nobody's really using it, are they? So that's a look there. Benson, one thing with putting the processing on the phone is that for Apple, they won't let third-party apps run in the background. It's probably possible for Android, though. Is that a RAM thing? Is that a random access memory thing? Or is that just some design principle that they have? Because I know with the new phones my new iPad, before when you'd get out of a program, you'd go back to it, it would refresh because it was removed from the RAM, like whatever the last setting was no longer there. That's not happening on my new iPad anymore. I mean, I can leave something for days and go back to it and find the same screen. So I don't know if that's a design choice or something that they had been doing with the lack of RAM. So let me know what you think about that. Let's see what else. Picture taken from iPhone 13 is much better than iPhone 16, so the point about the new iPhone is somewhat debatable. All right, I have the 13. I don't necessarily love their camera or anything like that, but Rondo, WeChat is how Big Brother keeps an eye on everyone in China. All right, let's go on, see what else people are saying there. AK, Sharif, what do you think holding Palantir into earnings, please? Look, I mean, it's a tough way, it's a tough choice, right? The PE is wild, right? I mean, they really need to grow into their PE, but they keep making all-time highs. So you feel like, this would be better suited for a pullback. But every time you wait for that pullback, it just makes all-time highs. And so I see your point. I don't have a personal opinion on Palantir. It's not a name that I've been involved in. Technically, though, it's on the way up. It seems to have a little bit of resistance in the high 80s, as we saw last week, breaking down a little bit below that. We'll have to wait and see how they do. But make sure, no matter what, you check out that with Adara and Neil on the Market Recap Show. They're going to have that for you today. Let's throw it to Adara, though, at the big desk.
Thank you for that wonderful transition there, Sharif. Get it, Sharif. You can definitely check out Palantir earnings with myself and Neil and Michael Noss on the Market Recap Show. But before we send you back to the Bash Brothers, I actually wanted to debut here our latest TTV research graphic. I had a lot of fun making this one. Last week was a massive week for a lot of stocks, and especially a lot of these Mag 7 tickers, right? So we had Meta, Tesla, Microsoft, and Apple all reporting earnings. We had some fears with NVIDIA and DeepSeek, where it actually had NVIDIA had their largest one-day market cap loss, and there was also some tariffs concerns. So with that in mind, I made this graphic here to show the 1 week changes for all of these Mag 7 tickers from the week of January 27th to January 31st. So these percent changes are basically what we did as of the close on Friday. Microsoft down about 6%, NVIDIA down about 13%, Tesla slightly red in the week. So as you can see here, we've got some frowny faces for Satya Nadella, Elon Musk, and Jensen Huang, but the rest of these CEOs all smiles as their tickers made some kind of increase on a week-over-week basis. So make sure to check that out on X at TTV Research. And as always, let me know, tag me in the chat if there's any graphics that you want to see on TTV Research. I will try my best to accommodate that. Back to you.
That is the best infographic you have made yet, Adara. And not because like the contents is fantastic, so don't let me mislead you there. But the pictures she's chosen are so apropos. Why does my man Jensen look like he's 42 when he's like 99 now, right? He doesn't have nary a black hair on his head anymore, but there he's got a full head of black hair. And look at Tim. Tim, you know you're not throwing up the deuces today with your stock down 3.5%, you little punk. Meta as well. Look at Zuck. Zuck's happy right now. Zuck's printing high a day every time we open up the chart. Seems to be a bit higher. But Elon and Satya and Jensen, they don't seem that happy. I don't like Andy Jassy that much.
You don't like Andy Jassy that much?
Not really.
No, I'm not the biggest fan.
He's so innocuous.
Yeah,
like you don't know what the hell he's doing at any time. But we know what Jeff's doing most of the time, or what he's not doing.
Well, I know. I mean, Jeff, man, come on. So there we go. I mean, Jensen, he lost 500 billion that one day. So there you go.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's upset about. Yeah, that's a good point, Joseph.
Right? So he's a little down in the dirt. I would be probably after that as well too. But I mean, here we go, guys. Bitcoin now at that 100,000. Sharif was right. Let's take a look at that. Trading around the high a day, around 57 and change, I think, at this point. Just below it. So 56.95 here, continuing to crawl higher. I mean, I heard Neil mention this earlier in the morning. It's just like the bounces off of 92K have been nothing short of phenomenal. I thought this was going to be the time that we broke down and we got that somewhat capitulation within this Bitcoin, spot Bitcoin here, but it doesn't seem to be the case, Sharif. Look at this rebound. It essentially never even happened, that sell-off there, from 102K all the way down to 92K at that lows and bouncing it. I'm thinking double top, so what do? I offload a bunch here on Friday, and that's okay. It is what it is. If we break the high, then we can get right back involved. I mean, buying the all-time highs isn't the worst strategy out there, especially on something like this, because we could run into price discovery. So I'm just really surprised at this bounce. I thought this was going to be the turnaround that we got, and then maybe we come into the mid-80s on Bitcoin, but doesn't seem to be the case as of right now.
SOPA breaking out, guys. SOPA taking out that 290 high day. I don't have it up. Let's take off Tesla and throw up SOPA. There it is, 290 high day. It's at that level right now, 277 or so. That was the breakout area initially at around 950. That was the high there. We take out that level. Keep your eye out on this one. It's big. It's up 83% on the day, so we need to put some respect on this one's name. Good look right now for SOPA. AK, my man, I answered you in the chat with respect to Palantir. Katina, man, do you have any advice for people holding Palantir into earnings? Anything you would say to them?
Get your offer ready at $99.
Get your offer ready at $99. In other words, put in a profit taker for $99. So the Katina man, in not so many words, bullish Palantir earnings. So there you go, my man, AK. Better from him than from me because I'm not involved in the name. I just report on it intraday and when it's moving, but not something that I keep my eye on all the time, obviously. But it's a hell of a name. It's what Dan Ives calls the Messi of AI. He likes it. He likes it for many different reasons, right? Pure play AI, you know, they're not really using that generative AI, using large language models. It's not what they're focusing on. They're focusing on real use cases, mostly military application, not all. We've seen them now try to diversify into the commercial sector a little bit by being able to kind of organize the manufacturing process using some of their systems. I'm talking about AIP specifically as the system that they employ there. So do your research on it. I mean, I don't know if you're trading it as a swing or you're a long-term trader. If you're a long-term trader, I don't know, man. I think we're just scratching the surface of AI in a military capacity, guys. And I talk about my favorite social media platform, TikTok, all the time. And the videos that I see on TikTok, sadly, coming out of the war in Europe, just makes me feel that we are not even at like a 0.5% of the military capability that we could with AI. A lot of these drones or these autonomous, I don't want to call them autonomous vehicles because people will mistake them for cars, but you guys know what I mean. Autonomous military hardware. Let's go with that. Okay. Going into the battlefield and doing its thing. That's kind of what I'm envisioning there with respect to Palantir and how they deploy some of their technology. TS, do you guys have mic level checks in the AM? I feel like your levels are off. I constantly need volume adjusting. I don't know. The production team is always on the case there. It's not really for us to decide. It's for them to let us know. Anything you got over there, Joseph?
Yeah, just let's see what we got going on in TSLA. I'm keeping my eyes on IBIT here as we continue to crawl higher here on the session, but I also just documented the Playmaker. So all-time highs on the Playmaker poll, guys. Good work there. So I got out at 155, so we documented that one. So positive trade on the Playmaker. So way to vote that one. I voted short today for everyone's information. Full disclosure on that front. But here we are, TSLA running into some key. Oh, why'd I get a fail there?
What happened, Katina man?
Okay,
he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that, man.
All right, so here we go.
Katina man is very disappointed right now.
I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still short Tesla. I'm short. I'm short, man. We're going to send it to Adair, man. I don't know why I got the fail.
I don't know, bro.
Just be aware here, we have got the NASDAQ up. They're actually near day's highs, but Fed's Bostic making some kind of cautious comments here, saying that he does not expect there will be enough clarity on inflation by March in order to justify a move in rates. Basically, Fed's Bostic saying it's very likely we will get no change in rates come the March FOMC meeting. Back to you.
Oh, no, not even close. No, not even close. No, not even close. No.
The Katina man hit the fail because Joseph voted short on the poll, and I think it came out long, Joseph?
Yeah, it came out long, 57% to 43. The closest one was like, that's relatively close. Closer than it usually is, I guess. That one time we had the 50-50 going into the close was the closest it's ever been. But yet we still yet to get a short. I'm waiting for that day to come to fruition, that's for sure, man.
All right, guys, IVVD, we've been involved in this one. I'm proud of myself with this one because, look, I added an area that I perceive to be a good area of support. That 80 penny area I added, I just wet my beak at 86. I'm still holding a piece. I'd like to take it out at the $0.50, or sorry, not the $0.50, calm down, bro. At the whole dollar, if it comes up into that 98 penny area, that's the high of the day right now for IVVD. It's up 140%. Put some dang respect on this one's name, or not, I don't care. So we'll wait for 96 or 98 pennies, try to front run that size there. CYCN, oh baby, it's about to take out highs again, 535 HOD. Again, this one gave you higher highs and higher lows. I don't know why I didn't add it to that $5 dip. Anyway, the best print we had was around that 518 area. It's at 529 right now. Good look for CYCN. It's breaking, well, it's about to break out. It looks like it's been putting in that upward channel essentially all morning since 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. Take your pick. It's been up and to the right, higher lows, higher highs, but the range per candle has been a concern on CYC. Meaning, if you were to take the average price range of a 5-minute candle, it's a lot wider than you could compare to maybe an IVVD or something else, like a SOPA, for example. So that had to factor into your entry and your profit takers as well as your size. So IVVD, we're holding that. I'm holding RCAT over here at 868 because I perceive RCAT to be doing a higher low kind of bull flag setup. I don't know how I feel about this because it's technically negative on the day. It's 1.5% down, but Adara brought us that news item midday, and then we got that big boy spike. So we've been putting in higher lows since that time. We've had a bit of a sell area at 870. Not really sure what's up with that. I've moved up my stop to account for this area trough over here. So we're long 68s. We're risking to 53. So we're going to risk a little bit on this one. I'd like for it to hold a 10 exponential, but I'm going to risk to the bottom area low right there, which I perceive to be in the low 50s. I'm looking for a move up maybe into 880 if it really wants to get gangster up 890, something like that. But I perceive this to be higher lows with a flat top, so that's typically an ascending wedge. We'll have to see if that actually manifests or not. But can you believe it, dude? It is 2 o'clock already.
Flies,
I mean, I did not, usually on Mondays go a little bit slow because like it's Monday.
I find it a fast day.
Yeah, that's interesting. For me, Mondays have been a little bit slow, but definitely not today. It's 2 o'clock already. I got videos to shoot after this, so we're going to send you over to the big kahunas. They go by the names Neil and Sean. Get it, boys.
Peace and love.
I'm just so glad that I don't have to shoot any more videos anymore. Like, I'm just so glad that like everyone is just so much more handsome and knowledgeable than me. It's like I'm thankfully to all of that. We'll just sit here and we'll put on
every day last week.
Shut up.